Yeah.
So that's why I like working with exchange students, because most of them that come in, like incoming exchange students, they are very polite and very engaged, and they're like super excited to be here. And they're so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed that it's impossible not to like them. Like suddenly today, like 3 guys from Portugal just standing in my office. I'm like, "Hi, what are you doing here?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, sorry,
no.
we're trying to like get something." I'm like, "It's fine, I'll solve it." But that's, they're nice, and it's a very nice change of pace considering the normal like half psychotic people you can run into.
I've only had to be dealing with a psychotic manager instead from a different department, which is that's been a fun mess.
Yep.
Also,
Sheep. Sorry, Didier. Sheep, I think your sensitivity is a bit low. I hear like just intermittent, like just rustling from you.
Oh, really? My fan is not pointed. I'm just gonna go to push to talk.
Yeah.
We also had a fun situation the last couple of days that that all 3 general managers for the head of upper surgery are currently not reachable.
Like they're missing.
One is on leave.
Sure.
One is on maternity, and the other one is gone for unexplained reasons.
I feel like as a surgeon, you should never be able to be on leave. I don't think that should be.
It's not the surgeon. It's the general managers who run all of upper surgery.
Oh, who the fuck cares?
The problem is,
Wait, so if you're a surgeon, you're not allowed to have any leave in your draconian dictatorship?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I mean, the surgeons are supposed to, at least when they're submitting leave, at least give 12 weeks notice.
No. I mean, you will be very well compensated.
Very well.
You can never like take, vacation.
A holiday. So 0 holiday, 5 days a week.
The problem with all of the general managers for upper surgery being missing is that on the IT systems there's a whole bunch of stuff that technically needs their authorization that can't go through because all 3 of them are missing.
Yeah. So what do you do then? Is there like an acting manager you can talk to?
Well, the problem is they are literally the highest level managers in the hospital.
Oh.
That department. So there is no one higher to go to except, I mean, I guess you could argue the board of directors, but they don't have IT privileges.
No, it's more like, when one of our bosses are gone, they're like, okay, I'm gone. If it's an emergency, you can call, or if you can't call, I have delegated chiefness to this person that you can talk to.
That is usually the case, yes. The weird thing that's happened is the fact that one of the managers has gone missing for unknown reasons.
It's when one of our teachers suddenly vanished for like 2 weeks without telling anyone where she went, and turns out she went to Turkey, and we're like, why?
Yeah, the problem for that is, while someone's on leave and someone's on maternity, it's like, oh, we have an issue now. So we've got from what's happened so far, is basically just a manager from a manager who is technically not the right authority to be doing this kind of stuff, but is close enough, has been kind of shoehorned in as, hey, temporarily, can you authorize stuff?
Mm.
Which they don't have any of the IT privileges for, so we're having to constantly bang on IT's door and saying, can you manually override this one? Can you override this one?
Yeah.
And IT's like, we shouldn't be doing this, and it's like, yeah, we know, but we literally have no choice. Like, here is co-signed from like all of the managers we can get a hold of. Please do this. Because we can't override the settings.
Sure.
The problem is IT can't do it without manager's signature, which is like the awkward like catch-22, but we're managing somehow.
Yes, just fake it.
But we're in a bit of administrative like void probably until the person who's on annual leave comes back on Monday and finds out what's happened.
Yeah.
And then it's their job to clean up the mess. Yeah, spreadsheets available for anyone who wants to look at it, because I'll go through and explain that as well as part of kind of what we do at the start of the session here. Explain a bunch of this.
I am looking.
As I see your various animals now forming in the top. Someone's a platypus, apparently. Someone is a moose.
Wait, where is this? Where is this witchcraft?
In the Blood Bombs chat.
You are a platypus.
Which I should have pinned to this.
I'm not a platypus.
I see the platypus.
Wait. Who am I? What am I?
It reminds me of that one video where a guy is remotely talking to a judge, And he has a filter on it that turns him into a cat, and he doesn't know how to turn it off.
The thing is, to be precise, though, he was one of the attorneys for that case.
Yeah, maybe. He was very polite about it, but it was hilarious.
Yes, I know that exact video, and I had quite a laugh at it as well. It was a good one.
Well, you got to have your cat filter on, right? I mean,
yeah, he was very apologetic and like, my assistant is trying to turn it off.
My daughter has used this computer, obviously. Or
and given this was during the COVID working from home bit, probably yes.
Or I really like chatting as a cat. Who knows what's true?
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, for whoever's streaming, you are free to show the spreadsheet. There's no danger in that. I've currently got it set to comment only, so if anyone else gets the link, they can only comment and they can't actually change anything.
If someone is dedicated enough to type out this entire address, you know, you're free to leave a comment.
Well, no, I mean, like, even if they type out the entire address, they'll just get the comment mode. That's how it's set up.
See what it looks like.
I'll be getting you guys editing privileges later when I've had like email addresses and stuff, and so do that later.
I am sticking with not signed in at the moment on the stream.
I'm guessing that you are the shrew then.
Well, the shrew. Did you just call me a shrew?
Yes. Yes, you are signed in as the shrew.
Son of a bitch.
Because I see an anonymous index.
Did you just say it's fitting?
There's more than people here that should be here. There's one extra person.
Yeah, me twice.
Oh, you have it up twice? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got it on my on Firefox.
Once for the viewers so they can't see any of his Google stuff.
Yeah, I need to see the spreadsheet on both screens.
Yeah, I need to see in both peripheral visions what the fuck.
He's got to dual wield his administration.
Yeah.
Blood Bonds now in stereo. Very excited.
But I'd like to welcome everyone back to Blood Bonds, the Tale of the Ashen Court. Bit of a different view we'll be focusing on for a large part of this session, as the group is now entering into chapter 3. Last time, the group successfully completed the coronation, completed all of the investigations around it to the best of their ability, and now we'll be going over many of the things related to what happened, as well as going over how you will be ruling your new dukedom, and hopefully in future kingdom. Things go to plan. As a result, I have built this spreadsheet here to kind of make it easier to picture everything going on, and so all the information is in one place, and you don't need Foundry running to look at the information.
I appreciate it.
I am very sad that I did not get to finish putting comments and everything to kind of explain every single little bit. I'll add more comments as we keep going. I didn't get time to write out all the fancy like flavor text and everything.
What? No fancy flavor text. Worst spreadsheet ever.
I mean, you got flavor text on some of it. I didn't get all of it. So
how are we going to get by without flavor text?
Yeah. But of course, I'll be explaining everything here as well to kind of answer questions and such.
Yep.
Firstly, I hope you don't mind the color scheme I went for, going for a bit of an orange, white.
Yeah, it looks great. Nice. I like it.
I like it. This is a very nice spreadsheet.
It's been a while since I built a complex spreadsheet like this one, but yeah. Here you can see all of the council positions. A dread versus grandeur meeting at the meter at the top, which because I know Amnes, that's something Amnes has been doing quite a lot of dread.
I appreciate my dread.
Are we 30% into dread?
Yep.
Already.
30 into dread.
Oh my god.
Yep, you scroll over it. The reason why is Amnes' aura of dread is a permanent -10.
Oh, of course it is.
Amnes being a fallen Amar is permanent -5.
Ah. Sorkai plus 10. Alright, well, then, you know.
Yeah, Sorkai is very beautiful. It's very grand. It's very grand. It adds grandeur. Downside, you also put in the holiday edict, Reign of 1,000 Crows for -10.
What was that again?
What was that?
It was specifically a holiday edict to increase dread.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember signing
I like
that.
The tooltip has like this line break, so it just looks like it says birds -10.
Yeah, birds -10.
Just
I can't change that, unfortunately.
We can never forget the bird incident.
And recent harsh punishment -5, where you just outright executed dudes pretty brutally.
I regret nothing.
But the point is harsh punishments will increase dread because kind of what it does.
What getting off track immediately here, but what would like 100 dread? What would that like signify? What type of realm would that be? Just some like absolute hellscape, or like
crackling lightning in the background. Everyone is terrified of you.
I mean, that's what I want. So
Yeah,
you want this the cartoon Disney villain.
Yeah, lawful evil, I suppose. A sort of a
minus 100 dread is almost like cartoonishly levels of like if like I'm being afraid of you, but I mean, you can get. It will take a while. You might have to build some build some buildings, for example, specifically designed to make people scared of you. But I mean,
it is a lot of dread, but people are happy, right? You can be happy and dreadful at the same time.
They can be happy and in dread at the same time. That is possible. It just affects the general like mood and atmosphere of the realm you're creating.
How is the mood and atmosphere of the realm that we're creating?
Minus 30%. So currently, gloomy but happy.
Gloomy but happy. I mean, I'll take that. I mean, yeah. I mean, realm unrest 1. That's pretty good, right?
Yep. The lowest it can be is 0, and the maximum it can get to. I mean, technically it can go as high as it wants, but at 10 is the point of like active rebellion.
Yeah.
Pretty good right now. Realm unrest, of course, is bad. That just makes everything go down. It makes your income go down. Makes your skill checks worse. It's bad. And of course, here you can see all the council positions, which have now been divided into 6 categories: leadership, military, administration, diplomatic, mystical, and security. Because one of the issues I had was the way we're going to have it is otherwise we would face a position where we would be running. Essentially, you'd have to decide on 16 actions per turn before.
Right.
Which is kind of a bit too much.
Right.
It's too many people to assign. This way, you basically break it down as each category gets a special action it can do by base. So anytime there's only ever 6 kind of projects going on at a time.
Okay.
Anytime. But among that anyone from that category can do that project. You just pick whoever you think will be most appropriate and execute it the way you want it to be executed. An example I gave to some of the others when I was talking about this with them was that if you are, let's say the security team, you have some kind of edict to do with smugglers that are a problem. Dealing with the smugglers, I mean, you have 3 very, very different approaches. The spy master might try recruiting them. The High Warden might crack down with more police. The Royal Enforcer might just go in and murk them. 3 different approaches to the same problem. 3 different outcomes.
Sure.
You'll have that in general. Obviously, right now, some areas you have quite a lot of vacancies in, especially the leadership department. There is currently only 1 person with any leadership here.
Everyone mysteriously dies when they try to get a leadership position.
Just very quickly, guys. Dan's is watching the stream. He says thank you for using his character name.
He's absolutely welcome. Because yes, that is a thing. In the bottom left, you can find there's retainers down there.
Yeah.
And you can see he has been made into your Dragonborn scribe. Sorry.
All right, sure.
Right.
He's now officially a retainer of the court.
Right.
Awesome.
All of things.
You can keep the records.
Wow.
He's the record keeper.
Alongside, of course, Lady Serena Dobrosi, the harpy, who is your seamstress, and Persephone the Fantabulous, who is your alchemist.
Ah, yes.
I love that she's just got an asterisk.
I would not go. The entire thing would not fit in the box. So she is an asterisk. Yeah. So part of this will also be for the sake of the viewers and also for the sake of players if you've forgotten, or sheep who you haven't done any of the council stuff before. So whilst we're going over each of the council positions here to kind of reiterate all of it.
Yep. Sounds
And
good.
feel free at any point if anyone wants to like ask questions, feel free to interrupt me and just ask questions. So. But you can see for each of the roles, though, we have it's decided as you already kind of most of you already knew this, but it's already decided by ability scores and by your skills were the primary things that influence it. As well as your character's proficiency, plus some background factors which I've calculated in, which could include stuff like class features. If you've got a class feature I think is appropriate to that role. Or possibly racial things, your choice of background. there are various things that can add modifiers there. I've done the same for the NPCs in the council as well. So that's why your modifiers are all over the place. I can show you these background modifiers if you want to see them in a bit, but for now they're hidden because it makes the spreadsheet look nicer. And they don't really change, so it's not super important. So we'll go over each category and kind of explain a bit here for the council. Of course, the most important position in the realm, clearly, is the ruler.
Yes.
Currently, Duke. As the ruler, you are the literal beating heart of the realm. It is your word that the entire realm hinges on, and it is your actions that really shape the destiny of the realm as a whole. You don't get any special benefit for having a ruler, but you do take massive penalties if you don't have one. In the event that Amanus is either dead, resigns, is incapacitated, missing, or just otherwise chooses not to do his job as ruler, there will be a bit of a power vacuum, and you'll be increasing unrest by 3 every single turn, and lose morale on your armies every turn, and also get half resources in general that turn. It's really bad not to have a ruler. Like really, really bad. Yeah, kind of most important position. The next role is one that's going to be vacant for a while, I feel like. It's the consort role. Traditionally, the bride, or it could be groom, depending, of the ruler. They are not simply, however, the partner to the ruler. They also serve a function around court, helping welcome guests into the court, organizing the courtiers, keep making sure the household runs smoothly, as well as they may conduct royal visitations and similar matters, of which I should note, I guess, there's also special actions for each of the roles on the right-hand side. I think you can all see them here.
Yep.
Special things that only that ruler in particular, or only that like council position can do. In the ruler's case, it's here petitioners. As the ruler, Amanus, for example, can choose that he's going to like the special project for leadership that month could be he's going to hold a court and basically personally resolve disputes between various people who need their things resolved. Let petitioners come to the court and request things of Amanus, or request his opinion on things. Basically, open up his courtroom to the public, if he so desires. Which can be useful. The consort would be able to conduct a royal visitation, basically have the royal family show up to a place and say, yes, this is mine.
Wave in that royal wave style.
Yes, do the royal wave. Basically, promote. For example, it could be promoting a business, could be the royal visitation, or promoting like an art piece.
I am the consort, and this is my favorite store.
Pretty much. The heir, if you had one. Also, sorry. One of the things the consort is also in the event the ruler is missing, the consort may take the role, may take over the responsibilities of the ruler, though they do not become the ruler.
Sure.
And if they do so, instead of you getting the horrific penalties for not having a ruler, you simply gain 1 unrest each turn instead of the horrific penalties.
Sure.
Like, everyone's not the happiest about the consort being there, but the point is, if you're gone for a long time, they can handle it. It's fine. The consort can technically attempt to coup you by reappointing the council in your absence.
Wow.
However, if the rest of the council is loyal to you, that may end up very badly for them.
Would imagine, yes.
Not recommended. The heir has the same function as the consort in the sense of they can take over in the event that you're absent for any reason. But also the fact of if you end up dying, they can immediately take the ruler position without anything special having to be done. They can just become the ruler.
Yeah, it's my safe slot.
The other thing for the heir, because the heir's job is not simply just being your spare, but they also have responsibilities of going around. They may also do some of the same kind of like hand waving and like showing off to the public, making your presence as the ruling family known.
Certainly.
The other thing, of course, is they are to train and learn kind of how the realm works in preparation for one day being the leader.
Yes.
Their special action is Shadow Council, which if you had it, The Shadow Council allows them to essentially they basically hang around one of the other councillors, learning from them, and at the same time giving experience or giving bonuses to the councillor in question who they are following around.
Oh, okay. Like the guild too, you send them off to be trained.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Oh, I completely misunderstood what that was. I was like, they have their own shadow council. What?
No.
If they can conspire against you secretly.
No, they shadow and essentially follow around. The Royal Advisor can be just anyone in the world. Amnesty can literally assign literally anyone in theory to be the Royal Advisor. So traditionally, you're supposed to give it to someone who is of importance or whose opinion you want to show you value. The Royal Advisor is a bit odd when it comes to councillors. They don't have a department or anything. Like they don't have like a specialist. Like this is the area I handle.
Sure.
Well, the advisor is more an extra pair of hands for Amonis, and an extra someone around the court to be his eyes and ears, just kind of keep an eye on everything, be that kind of that nosy person, kind of just checking in on the other councillors, making sure everyone's doing their job properly. The Royal Advisor has a special passive ability, which is if you have a Royal Advisor, once every single council phase, they can just pick any of the special projects going on and just give a default to the dice roll for it. And as the proficiency goes up with the Royal Advisor, the dice gets bigger. Eventually to a D12 if it was ever a +6 proficiency Royal Advisor. Basically, they get to handle like bardic inspiration to one project going on. Because, they're putting the nose in everyone's business. But they are helping, mostly.
That's useful.
Then we reach the military category. The military category is broken into 3 sections. The Field Marshal, who is the top of your main military. It was general before, but the Field Marshal really has generals working underneath him. Or will. Yeah. They are the top of your command. They are the ones who decide who gets deployed where, what generals are assigned to what case, and helps you also recruit more troops. Having a Field Marshal around is considered fairly valuable because without a Field Marshal, all of your armies will lose morale. Well, most likely their morale is capped quite low by not having one. All your forces are quite disorganized, basically, if you don't have a Field Marshal in play. As their special ability, they can encourage recruitment to try and basically generate you more manpower if you're running low. We'll get to manpower later, but essentially try and bolster the number of people willing to be recruited to the army, which can be useful if you end up bleeding a population dry. The High Admiral, which you currently do not have, would obviously the leader of your navy. Similar to the Field Marshal, not having a High Admiral caps the effectiveness of your ships, so their kind of maximum skill level is quite low. But there is no other penalty for not having one. And currently, given you don't have a fleet, there is genuinely no penalty. Their special ability is privateering. You can send the High Admiral out to, well, you can authorize the High Admiral to just go out and authorize piracy, basically, against your enemies. And you get some of the ill-gotten gains in return. Hurt your enemy and get you money. The military attaché is a new role, which I have added. This is the more diplomatic arm of your military. When it comes to troops who may not necessarily be the standard fare. This can include recruiting adventurers. This can be recruiting the tribal groups such as the Skaldi, or say recruiting giants to your cause. Or it can, and it's also there are a part of the military attaché's role is it's kind of working with your allied forces and working with your vassals and coordinating your vassal forces so that your allied forces so that they also function well within your military structure. Yeah, they are to be essentially the glue to help if you have loads and loads of parties working together to make sure that they are communicating properly out on the battlefields. There is not a major penalty to not having military attaché, but it's useful to have, and it does allow you to recruit loads of regulars, which you wouldn't normally be able to do. I saw Halldamir, your light lit up. Did you want to say something?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
I saw the light. I didn't know if you wanted to say something or not.
No, that might have been me typing. But...
Has all that made sense so far, everyone? Just so I don't rush ahead too far.
Yep.
No, you're
Yep.
good. now.
Listen closely.
Next up is the administrative section, which is currently fully packed with people. You've got a lot of administrators.
Well, I mean, running a realm here, we need a lot of bureaucrats.
The first role is the Royal Steward. The Royal Steward is in charge of your domain, ensuring that your lands are developed, your resources are extracted, buildings are constructed, and just, architecturally that everything is working the way you want it to. Plus, of course, getting the correct style if you're going Dread and you want, creeping tall spires of darkness everywhere.
Oh yeah, I need a lot of spikes and gargoyles and stuff.
They're their job to make sure that's all approved in the architectural blueprints for you. All good.
There's got to be someone who's standing there going, nah, not enough gargoyles. Got to add at least 2 more on the south side.
As long as you have a royal steward in play, you gain a free project slot every month, which can only be used for construction projects. But it's one that you can always have one construction project on the go without it eating up another councillor's job.
Sure.
I mean, you're still your councillor assigned, but it doesn't eat up like one of the major slots. Because the steward can just make sure construction is ongoing. Their special ability is called Oversee Development, which allows them to speed up a construction project that's ongoing. Basically, if the steward is doing that, this turn counts as 2 turns for the construction project, which can be useful if you have a project you just want to rush. Then the Grand Treasurer, in charge of all of his lord's finances, ensuring the books are balanced and the tax collectors are getting all of the money which you desire, as well as doing a little bit of work with merchants, levies, taxations, you know how it goes, tariffs, as well as balancing the books when the other leaders make exorbitant requests for money, such as, I don't know, spending a king's ransom on a hotel room somewhere.
I have no idea.
We could never discuss
Ridiculous.
something like that. That would be.
Their special ability is levy special taxes. They can just for the next month, they can just levy an additional tax on people. It'll earn you an extra chunk of money, but will increase disloyalty.
Oh, this month the king spent a lot of money on hotels. We need to raise taxes.
Yeah, you can raise taxes for 1 month. It increases unrest by 1, but will earn you money based on how well you roll.
Gosh.
So, the High Sage is responsible for knowledge of the realm, responsible for deciphering old books and texts, for gathering books from foreign lands, serving as the advisor to the court on matters of science, medicine, farming, academia, various other subjects, as well as they are the promoter of culture and art for the realm. Their special ability is to promote your culture. By promoting their culture, it could be to try and, for example, get more people to move to your region, but it could also be to try and say increase your general influence of the realm, or if there is a particular culture you dislike, to stamp it out. The point is to make your land the shining beacon of what everyone should strive for, as well as just shifting the alignment of the local population.
Sure. So propaganda minister is what you say.
The High Sage can be the propaganda minister.
Promote, traditional Sorkai values.
Pretty much. If you want to run that kind of campaign, the High Sage is the one generally to find a way to do it.
Sorry, can you just confirm what So mod is like a modifier on the rolls that we do?
Yeah, that is essentially the dice roll for that council position.
Okay, just checking.
Based on all the factors combined together.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just double checking. I understood.
The Grand Ambassador, which apparently the text is wrong on that, so that's that. The Grand Ambassador is the person in the realm responsible for managing emissaries, managing foreign visitors, negotiating trade routes, negotiating treaties, and generally being your face in other nations and managing the people you send out to be the faces in other nations. If you do not have a Grand Ambassador, you cannot conduct trade edicts, attempt alliances, or attempt unions, or gather favors from foreign realms. Yeah, really hard to do stuff when you don't have an organized diplomatic network. The special ability of the Grand Ambassador is to summon courtiers. The ambassador could just say, like, I want to look for people of, and give a particular quality. It could be a culture, it could be a religion, it could be a certain skill set.
Sure.
It could be someone who can do a certain task, a candidate for counselor. And say, I want to summon people like that. And you go out and scour for the next month looking for potential people who match that and bring them to the court. Which can be quite useful.
Yeah, it's pretty useful to find like corp people.
The High Consul is the eyes and ears of the council in respect to the people. They are the mouthpiece for you, from you to the people, as well as the people's mouthpiece back to you. They're responsible for ensuring the well-being of the realm, ensuring that the people are well fed, that all their general welfare needs are being met, and relaying to the council any issues that the populace, the low commoners, have issues with. They technically also manage the nobility, but to be honest, the nobility, if they have an issue, will come straight to you. It's the nobility.
We barely have any ability anyway.
You do have some, but not a lot, admittedly. First thing, so if you do not have a consul in play, you cannot have any holiday edicts, and you lose all benefits of any holiday edicts you had in effect. In addition, by not having a consul in play, you gain 1 unrest every turn. The people get very cranky if they're not being listened to. No one's stopping them, starving and everything.
Sure.
The Arch-Chaplain is the head. Well, in a sense, they are your chief religious advisor on the royal advisor. They are to guide the ruler and the council in any matters when it comes to the organized face of the realm, as well as being your relay to the big churches to help you with any religious favors that you might require. Prevalently for you guys, that they may end up being the main mouthpiece you have to, if you wish to speak with the Council of Cardinals, who runs the Radiant Church. But they may also negotiate with other major churches in the realm who are well organized enough to kind of have a hierarchy to them. On top of that, they are also often in charge of ensuring that any matters from the priesthood are brought to your attention as required, and generally just keeping religious peace in the realm. Ensure the churches aren't fighting inside of your cities and causing muck.
Sure.
Their special ability is requesting sanctions. They are able to basically request favors from the clergy. This can be, for example, doing the Crusader King's equivalent of going to the Council of Cardinals and requesting money, or requesting a claim on someone. Because God says so, right?
Sure.
Or it can be trying to get just special permissions to do special permissions, or trying to get them to overlook certain things that have happened. Essentially, the royal chaplain can try to ask a favor from the organized priesthoods. Then we get to the mystical job roles. The first one is your Archmagister. The Archmagister is in charge of providing the arcane insights for the council, explaining any issues of mystical, magical natures that the council needs to be aware of, training apprentices, conducting rituals, maintaining magical structures and wards, as well as ensuring the safe collection and storage of mana crystals and spell components for the realm. Their special ability is they can cast rituals for you. If you have major rituals, such as, for example, let's say a cold protection over an entire settlement, like Sorkai already has, they can cast major rituals like that if you have one available to cast. Eating from, of course, your mana reserve. The Grand Seer. The Grand Seer is a position not often filled in the Radiant Empire, but is often filled in other places and by many of the tribes. The Grand Seer is an expert on the softer sides of magic, magics that invoke more of nature, invoke more of less of the gods and more of the understanding of the world around them. These individuals are frequently druids, but not always, but have found the ability to spot the patterns in the world. Grand Seers are often your connection when it comes to the less structured religions, those worshipping kind of smaller cults and faiths, but as well as those who perhaps revere nature over a divine being. The Grand Seer's ability is to scry for secrets, using their knowledge of the more eclectic faiths and more occult proceedings to try and search for information for you about a target, try to learn something that's been hidden from the world using magical means. The Royal Forge Master is a new position as well, available to you because you have the Mana Forge on top of the tower now. The Royal Forge Master is a personal artificer to the court. Someone whose role is ensuring the construction and maintenance of magical equipment for the realm, be it tools, weapons, armor, golems, whatever it be that the realm desires to be constructed and maintained. That is their role. In their day-to-day times, it is also their job to ensure the supplying and staffing of various workshops up and down the realm, as well as ensuring the Arcane Forge is properly maintained and kept ablaze at all times. If you have the Royal Forge Master position filled, you gain a free Artifice project every single turn, which can be used for basically working on magic items without interrupting any of the other projects going on. Oh, I don't know if I mentioned with the Sage. The Sage's passive ability was you get a free research slot every turn that can be used without interrupting. You can see these on the right-hand side in the Council Projects thing.
That's useful.
The last section is security, which is packed mostly by PCs, actually. The High Warden's role, as we're well aware, is to ensure the rule of law in the realm, ensure the safety of the people is secure, send out patrols of troops, as well as adjudicating laws and hearing the lower court cases that they need an official body to view them, but doesn't necessarily need to be raised all the way up to the king to personally adjudicate what happens. The judges, the guards, the general security of the realm falls within the High Warden's area. If there is no High Warden, you gain 1 unrest every single turn, automatically. You need police, basically. The special ability of the High Warden is he can adjudicate laws. Essentially, the High Warden can go in and start meddling with your laws. He can spend his time adjusting laws to influence things in one way or the other. The laws could be, for example, making harsher criminal penalties. It could be making something criminal that wasn't already, or making something not criminal that would be defaultly criminal somewhere.
This month, cucumbers, criminal.
And otherwise, I just simply allows the High Warden to basically just influence how law is being practiced and make changes as the court sees fit if a major change to the laws overall is needed for some reason. Most commonly, it could be for making punishments harsher or more lenient, though is the more common thing. Anyone who's played the guild knows exactly that kind of idea.
Yes.
The Spy Master is the head of espionage. Their position is often one that's not spoken, and their title is not as grandiose as a result. The Spy Master is very frequently not known by the Spy Master, at least not to the public. They're simply known as another advisor to the court, if they're known at all. The Spy Master is in charge of keeping their finger on the pulse of the underworld, ensuring they have a network of spies and agents and various individuals to keep an eye on the comings and goings of the world. Ensure you're up to date and nothing slips in under the radar. The special ability of the Spy Master is to study a target. You can basically pick a target for the Spy Master to focus his efforts on gathering information about that individual target. It could be a person, it could be a group, or it could be a faction, for example, or it could be an entire realm. But the point is, you select a focus, and the Spy Master can try to gain information about that area, which you don't, allowing him get a bit of a report for it for the next council phase that you wouldn't otherwise have. sent out as agents, The last role is the Royal Enforcer. The Royal Enforcer is the darker arm of the security area. The Royal Enforcer's work is one that is feared by many. A benevolent Royal Enforcer may put up bounties and send out bounty hunters to track down targets. A more vicious one may simply be the court assassin. Regardless, the Royal Enforcer's job is twofold. Ensuring that anyone in your realm who crosses you meets either a swift end or a racking of the gallows, or otherwise, well, is to at least ensure that information is extracted if that's what you prefer. The other area is to hunt out targets that cause you issues. They are the blade of the council to assassinate and remove the political dissidents wherever it rises up, and to deal with situations that maybe publicly you don't want to send the guards in for. Their special ability is to press dissidents. They can attempt to clear unrest by going out and killing anyone who speaks out against you, or otherwise making them disappear forever. Doesn't have to be killing. Might be killing them. Fear is also a potent tool for them, so you could just equip them with fear, but go as you will. There is, of course, the risk of if it does not go well, it could decrease loyalty around the realm, but people will still be afraid of it, so it's helpful in some regards. But it can lower unrest, which is the main point. So it's a useful tool, especially if your unrest is getting out of control. Just know there will be consequences for doing it too much. Yeah, start killing too many people, people will start going to notice. Hopefully, though, that makes sense to everyone of the different council positions that are now here. For the full council.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You currently have many vacancies, but in time, hopefully, you'll be able to fill those. You also have the opportunity to reorganize the council if that is so good desired, but we'll handle that when we get there. As you can see on the right-hand side, I have a little section where you can track the projects currently going on. So you can have the project and who's the leader of each project, which the list of projects will go up as we keep going on as well. Because you've got the projects for leadership, military, administration, mystical, and security. Look, I missed one. Did I miss one? Yeah, I missed diplomatic. Oops. Let's fix it. I'll fix that now. But I missed one. Looks short.
Knowing Saris and Halldamir, they're not going to be projects, they're going to be adventures.
You are... I can't say you're
We
inclined.
need this special feather for project.
Oh yeah, I need to go.
It could happen. But we'll deal with that when we get there. As well as at the bottom, you can see there are... to fix this section now because it's all broken. There are the free project areas for construction, research, and artifice. So obviously artifice is locked right now because you don't have a royal forge master to get you that free slot. On the very right-hand side, you can see your current mana bar, which shows the magical reserves the kingdom has on standby for, be it magical crafting, rituals, or anything else that might require a massive expenditure of magic at once. Currently, you are capped at, I believe, 10 as the maximum you can have, but in theory, that can get much bigger. So you'll need better storage and more magical facilities to get more storage. Build more mage towers or something.
Seems a bit extravagant when we don't really have that much people in the magic section.
Yeah, currently you only have the archmanager and no one else in mystical, so probably you don't need that much magic at the moment. But
all right, well,
obviously as your realm gets bigger, that could definitely be a thing that you might want to bring up. Especially if anyone's ever interested in something like teleportation, then that's going to be very expensive on the mana cost. but you know, a useful thing.
I feel informed.
The last major section on here is just below all of this, which is a section which lists all the holdings of your realm, all the major kind of locations somewhere within your land. Obviously, we have Sorkai, the Crystal Mines, and the Manor Forge within the Highlands, owned by Amanus, of course,
Yes.
as a core territory. And they have incomes which you can scroll over. Some of them have like little things telling you about where the income's coming from, as well as a manpower, which says basically how many spare people are going around right now that you can just like pull out of nowhere for like recruiting for soldiers. As well as a recovery of how many soldiers back do you basically, like, how much does that manpower number recover each month? Currently quite low. And it's very quite low because turns out if people die, it's really hard to get them back. People take a while for people to age, right?
Right.
Manpower doesn't recover very fast, though obviously you can get some through other means.
Set up a cloning facility.
Yeah. The field marshal, for example, can try to encourage recruitment, get people who wouldn't volunteer normally to do it. Or you can always try basically just doing a peasant draft, but
It would be a short war over before summer and a glorious victory. Sign up now.
you also have your vassals realms, which provide the same thing. They provide income and manpower, but you'll notice the values are much lower because vassals do not provide you their full income or their full vassals. They have their own stuff to deal with. So you only receive 1/3 of the income and 1/4 of the manpower by default from a vassal.
Sure.
Though potentially you can adjust the feudal contract on them potentially, but expect pushback if you try. You also have your trade deals in there, which currently is just one trade deal which you have with Reichhold for lumber. And all of that is summed up into an amount of income you're getting each month, as well as the amount of money from the treasurer, as well as your upkeep, which are all being kind of calculated together.
I believe we also had a trade deal with like some shadowy dwarves for mana crystals, or am I misremembering?
So with the dwarves, you did sell off some of the iron mines in Freyfrost.
Right.
Which you did that. It wasn't a trade deal, but you just sold off some of the rights for in return for a cash injection.
Okay.
Which technically now it's an Eliza's problem. You can see down there in that section some things like all the recoveries and the trade deal with Reichhold are currently in green. So the recovery one's a bit faint.
Right.
That's because they are currently getting bonuses to them. In that case, because you currently have one of the holiday edicts you had was dedication to the smith.
Yes.
Which gives you plus 50% to trade deals right now.
Yeah.
And also you're getting plus 50% to the manpower recovery because you had the dedication to the warrior holiday edict.
Right.
You're getting back 50% more manpower than you would normally. In cost though, it is costing you some upkeep to keep the holidays scheduled and like preparations for them going and such.
Of course.
You can see there's an upkeep bit as well in the bottom corner of that, which has basically like lists out like where all like special expenditures, such as your military is costing you some, your retainers cost you some, your edicts cost you some. You would expect the upkeep's going to keep getting bigger, but also hopefully your income will keep getting bigger as well in time. Balance your books, or try to. Does all of that make sense to everyone?
Way past 25.
I think so.
Good explanation, I think.
Yeah.
There was a lot to kind of cover there at once, both for the viewers and for you guys. You kind of get an overview of everything going on here and see all the numbers, basically.
Yeah.
I don't want to hide anything from you here. Obviously, each council phase, you'll get to assign projects to your various councillors, different council groups, and then we'll resolve them as we normally would. Fix that drop down because that drop down broke. It's fine. Okay, then now. I know Halldamir is currently away, I think, so we'll give him a couple of minutes before we go diving into anything too deep. But if anyone has any questions. Oh, Welcome back.
Alright, good timing.
If anyone has any questions about any particular thing here, feel free to ask now because you might as well. Go and do.
I don't have any questions. I think it was pretty clear, and I had a bit before as well. So
Oh, I also forgot to mention that for the Royal Forge Master, I don't really think I need to explain it too much. His special action is Construct Automata.
ooh, all right.
If you have a Royal Forge Master, they can try to construct you golems as part of the army.
I'm
Permanent
pretty
goal.
good.
Pretty boss.
They are really expensive, I would tell you, but it's something that they can do.
I'd imagine they're expensive for sure.
What's that?
We have some.
You have a couple of temporary golems, which you did manage to create for your upcoming war. But permanent ones will require more dedicated effort. And basically someone to basically maintain them for you. Yeah. For some reason I forgot to say that one, but yeah. The special actions can only be performed by the matching counselor, but all the rest of them can be done by all the other projects we'll get to can be done by anyone.
All right.
There is a page 2 on here which has some projects available, but I will say now the page 2 of all the projects is not an exhaustive list. This is just some examples of projects you can do. We will definitely be adding a lot to this in time. But if you want to switch to page 2, you'll see here. And the ones at the top will include the projects which, obviously the ones with the little men next to them are the council ones from the page 1, which I mentioned. The ones with the little diamonds they're kind of just default kind of repeatable ones that like that part of the council could always do. Anyone on the council can do on that part of the council can do it. And then some of them you have extra things below that on the list, which. But yeah, this is not an exhaustive list. Things will be added in time to this.
All right.
Possibly just from us talking back and forth, and you guys might come up with a cool idea, and I'll add that to the list for you as, hey, yeah, you can totally do that. Here you
Sure.
go. After all, I can't think of everything in the world, and it's not a video game. If you guys come up with a cool idea, we can do it.
Yeah.
Just add it to the list. So feel free to suggest as many random ideas to add as you want to at some point.
Sounds great.
I may regret that later, but we'll see when we get there. With all of that in mind, I suppose we can actually move to a more in-character point now, although I might refill my drink first. Yes, I might refill my drink first. Then.
Yeah, go ahead.
But then we'll actually move now to a more in-character point where we can kind of take this and go into the preparations for the new council meeting. It's been a while since the council's formed, and you have a lot of probably a lot of things to discuss.
Yes.
Yeah, recruiting like a forge master would be nice.
Could go find one.
Yeah, I feel like you don't just go to the local job board and pick a forge master. That sounds like something not many people do.
I agree. We might be able to find a steward instead and put Raiden as force master. I mean, he is an artificer, so
Oh, maybe. Might be easier.
finding a steward is probably easier than an arcane forge master. Looking for either a bureaucrat or a mystical legendary smith.
If anyone's going to be able to find a mystical legendary smith, it's going to be Ceres, right?
I guess. Do we have a lot of these laying around?
I don't know. I mean, maybe. You don't know.
I'm back. It sounds like you were talking about trying to recruit more councillors.
Yeah, either a royal steward or a forge master. The idea is to, if we get a steward, a suitable steward, then Raiden could be moved to forge mastery.
Rearrange the council, move Raiden down to Forge Master.
Yeah, I mean he's an artificer. If anyone can forge things, it feels like
He does meet the prerequisites to be the Forge Master.
And I feel it's easier to find a steward than it is to find a forge
Funny
master.
enough, the ability scores required for Steward and Forge Master are identical.
Yeah. Banker is still looking for places, and he wants to be a steward.
And he wants to be the treasurer.
No, that's true.
He can start as a steward.
Work up.
Yeah.
Great. I do think we need to get the forge going ASAP. So
You will be able to build. You will be able to build stuff in the Forge without the Forge Master. It just will be
like
it'll take-
dedicated. Yeah.
it will take up one of your other projects to do.
Yeah.
It's been a while since the council was fully formed. Do you want to, as a group, would you like to have your characters meet in private first, or would you like to have the full council gather immediately?
Is
Sure, that-
there,
give that
is there-
choice.
is there any matter that requires the attention of the small council first?
I don't think so.
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I think we're good to jump into it.
I think so too.
Unless you guys have been holding any secrets from me.
Well, there is this shadow council listing.
Well,
Apparently, yeah.
I find out in air. He can't have a shadow council yet.
yeah.
I don't feel like we have any topic where we need to be like, oh no, we only need 4 counselors for this.
let's talk to everyone.
Very well. The council then will begin to assemble. Sadly, I do not have the fancy council room map done yet. Sadly have not finished building it. But
Alas.
very upset.
I didn't even connect to the server yet. I was so enthralled by the spreadsheet.
I mean, in fairness, you don't really like the server's only really needed for dice rolls right now.
It's D&D. I want to roll dice, right?
Of course.
Part of the deal.
Yeah.
Auntie Makara, where are you? There you are. So everyone with the council, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, that is the entire council. Yeah, for the moment I will simply use the landing for this because we don't have a proper place for it. But
Yeah, that's fine.
I will organize people out into the appropriate groups, though, nonetheless. In standard format, I'm going to make sure that Sarah Sander and Vickers are next to Amanus.
Yep.
There we go. That's the council laid out into its various groupings.
All right.
Sorry to Gillian and Auntie Makara, who are by themselves in the groupings.
Sorry, they can stare at themselves.
Danza says that he will likely be taking notes, most likely of what everyone says at all times, and running around to write down more upon request.
Yes, of course. Because as has been recently recruited, actually during the coronation, as one of the many people who came up to the front to give an oath of allegiance to Eliza and Amanus, was a new and very promising recruit to the court. a blue dragonborn acolyte, though with seemingly like tinges of like silver on his scales.
All right.
Who has now become a chief scribe working underneath the high sage.
I don't trust him for a second. Kill him immediately.
Is that your royal decree?
No.
Please press Y to continue.
Yes, press Y to kill.
Do you wish to continue with your current action?
Because that would be the shortest cameo I've ever had before.
Yeah, immediately put it to stocks. Oh, it's fine.
Out of curiosity, have you requested any of your squires to attend the council meeting?
Yes, always.
Yeah, let's have
Yes.
all the squires.
All the
here.
squires.
With Sir Pine now being the royal bodyguard and first sword of the empire, he definitely needs to be present.
Just saying, Lord Shell needs to be our High Admiral, or else.
Absolutely not.
All right.
Like, you can imagine you have like a big round table here right now.
Can we put Lord Shell as our steward then?
No,
Yes, absolutely.
no.
You'll make a.
Yes.
You leave Lord Show alone. He's smarter than you.
That has nothing to do with it. It's a
He-
goddamn turtle.
He is highly charismatic. He would work well as like the military attaché.
I
man.
refuse to believe he's highly charismatic.
You've not even talked to him because of
I
your
demand to see his character sheet.
because of your prejudices against awakened tortoises.
We are
What-
running an empire here, not a
What
menagerie.
Amanas is racist.
Yes, but think who's better for hiring irregulars than the turtle?
Yes.
True. Send out the turtle to hire the weird people.
Yeah, the turtle is highly regular. It's true.
And think of it this way: when you're hiring adventurers, the person they end up talking to is the sentient turtle.
It's
It's
words
not bad.
escape me.
It's not a bad deal.
Ah,
On the other hand, I don't know if Amnes would be comfortable with a sentient turtle walking around his council.
we're not
Sorry,
a
being
Disney
carried into his
movie.
council.
It's like a Disney movie. He's gonna break into song or something.
No.
I mean, we already discussed that Eliza is nearly a Disney princess. So.
She is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Amanas
she's-
is the old evil dad.
The grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Can't get into my clementines.
I can't get into my Clementine.
I can't. Oh, there we go. There
You
we
said
go.
grumpy old man now.
No, it's
And-
the, it's
and-
the
and-
bag of
and-
clementines. It didn't want to rip open.
As I present to everyone, of course, the helio-diplomatic area.
Yes.
Hey, I gotta have snacks, all right? Otherwise, my throat gets
Oh,
sore,
sure.
and then I just become more gravelly, and then no one can understand me, and it just becomes awful. Okay.
You have your vitamin C. It's fine.
I've got a whole bag of sweet clems.
Oh boy.
This empire clearly has great things ahead. That's odd.
What's up?
I'm gonna have to quickly restart. My foundry. 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Okey-doke.
It's acting very weirdly. Because I was telling it to do things and it was just doing nothing with it.
Oh, that's not good.
There you go. Everything works now. Much better. You should be able to reconnect him.
I believe I am reconnected.
I'm just refreshing to log back in.
I haven't got any of the connection signals from you guys yet.
Okay.
Yeah, just refresh.
Oh, I see stuff happening, so I assume I'm connected.
Oh, now I got two of your lights on. Not Valkyrie, funny enough.
Oh, weird. I see stuff though. I guess I'll just refresh.
Now I've got everyone but Valkyrie's light on.
It's okay. It'll happen eventually.
Have we gotten a long rest?
Probably.
Yes, it's been several days since we last met.
Do we have our familiars now?
I haven't put them on here yet, but you would have your familiars with you. That's for sure.
Nice.
Do we have our familiars? I feel like
Yeah,
your experience is
Valky.
not that
Valky also got.
Oh, Valky has one as well. Okay. Never
I
mind.
got training in Magic Initiate from Mazara, so I have mine too.
I have a question. I have a question for Isa.
Hmm? Yes.
Would you like to be known as like High Sage CL, High Sage Vampire?
CL. You know, the vampire is the state's name.
Yeah.
Right. It's her burlesque stage name for her
Nice.
avant-garde theater troupe.
Sure, if you want that kind of show.
You
I
already
can
have-
provide for the king's pleasure.
Oh boy, yes.
God.
Something for.
But you
the
know,
next
there's a
convention.
reason I cannot use my last name, so CL is the way to go.
Alright.
Yeah, so everyone feel free to long rest yourselves, fully heal up, etc. That's fine.
I am.
You should be at full power for whatever ends up happening.
All this bureaucratic.
I mean, it wouldn't be the last time someone ended a meeting by diving over the table.
Get him.
How does his lordship prefer to be referred to? As Duke Amanus, Duke Zeal? How would you feel the correct? How would you ask your servants to refer to you in that sense?
Your Majesty.
Your Majesty. Just Your Majesty.
Yes. The Duke title, sure, that's what officially out there on the paper, but really he is Your Majesty. I mean, come on.
Does he prefer? If he is being referred to, though, does he prefer first name, surname, both?
Probably again, his last name is a taken name, right?
Yes.
But probably Good
It's not-
question.
What's
He
that?
does. He doesn't have a preference. Either works. Whatever is fine with feels natural for whoever's talking to. I suppose he doesn't mind you.
Okay. Okay, they've gone around. I've also decided to give everyone proper titles on the screen as well. They
Sure.
scroll over it when they have their titles. But yes, we will get the council assembled as kind of everyone makes their way in. It's been several days since the coronation. And things have mostly calmed down. Most of the visitors have left. Though apparently that you have heard news that there is a certain religious inquisitor currently poking his nose around.
Yeah.
Ryden has left the infirmary and will be joining you for the meeting.
Hey.
He was pretty badly hurt by it, but he's surprisingly tough at times, even when he's out leveled. As he enters in, though he does have like a crutch under one side right now, where he's still leaning a bit of weight on it. Not in the best shape. He'll be fine.
He'll be alright.
Notice Sarah's still hurt.
Just rub some
Yeah,
dirt
it's
on.
Alan is almost dead. So I mean,
It's because I haven't hit I had a long rest button.
I see.
You know, all I needed was a nap. Raiden isn't.
You just wake up mid
Isn't as
like
powerful.
mid council meeting.
I come out of the trance. I've been here
Yeah.
for the last 4 hours, and everyone arrives, and she's just like, "I'm here."
Yeah, she has one of those glasses with painted on eyes, so she looks like she's awake and listening.
That's when they talk about the money. She doesn't
Yeah.
care about that conversation at all.
Uh,
Like,
the
alright.
the lady's sleepy. It's fine. Tired.
She doesn't even sleep. She's an elf.
Here
Francis.
begins the first council meeting of the Duke of the Highlands. As your royal scribe, I shall be documenting everything that occurs here. As the Dragonborn takes a very deep bow to the entire council.
Oh, that's good. That frees up Raiden to do some other stuff than taking notes.
Everything from the meeting, of course, will be archived in the royal archives at the sage's discretion. He gives a quick bow to Lady Seal.
I imagine he has like a lectern or something in the corner.
Yes.
Yes. A big book.
He has a lectern, a very fancy quill,
Oh yes.
and multiple pots of ink because he has no idea how long this meeting is going to go.
He's just coming up 10 pots of ink. Fair enough.
With the start of the meeting, here, Lady Naraya, your royal enforcer, speaks up. She looks around. I think something that is important to discuss here, now we are all firmly gathered, is the events that transpired during the recent coronations for both of our rulers here. As it seems we faced both spies and an assassination attempt on another member of the council. Her eyes peer across the region. On top of that, I heard there was a disturbance in the graveyard afterwards, though I wasn't present for it.
Oh yeah.
She looks towards the inner council. That one.
Well, you mean the creepy old necromancer dude that we beat the fuck up? and then chased him and then beat him again.
Something like that. I don't know the details, except the corpse was delivered to the morgue.
Minus or with a detached head, if I recall.
Oh yes.
You know, after the dimension door shenanigans and the.
Yeah, I remember.
Are there plans for what to do with this corpse? It's undead. We could burn it.
I think some effort should be made to perhaps communicate with the skull. I believe there are such magics. See if we can actually learn anything.
Mikara looks over with a perplexed look. Am I understanding right? You're proposing to speak with the undead who tried to murder you?
Nods. Yes. He had a unsettling countenance, to say the least. Undead ASMR, from what I could tell, and said many cryptic things that I would like to know more about.
We can attempt such, though communicating with a undead is not always an easy task.
I'm going to stroke his chin thoughtfully.
They are already very corrupted.
Is there
I am no
way
expert in necromancy myself.
Is there any way perhaps to compel them to speak?
There are techniques that can be done. Yes, there are some techniques that can be done. Though we do lack on a certain divine flair that would normally be more useful.
Yeah.
But I can attempt such.
Well, we'll keep the head preserved for now. And if we come across a suitable person to help us with the ritual, perhaps the Reverend Mother could do it, although I suspect she has a distaste for this kind of work. But it might be worth having an ask.
Naraya speaks up again. If you really want to know more about your assailant, we can always just try digging for dirt. I'm sure anyone like that, well, they seem rather prominent. Undead Azamar. Someone's probably seen them if we ask around. We may be able to track more information about where they're from.
Amnos looks at the head, looks over and says, if possible, I would like for one of you to go through portraits of the royal family, see if this head actually resembles any of them. There are not many ASMRs in the realm, and from what he told me, he seemed to be quite familiar with myself. Gives me a sneaking suspicion this might be a revenant from the royal family. A job perhaps for the royal historian. Sage.
The option has now been added under administration if the sage wants to try it.
Yeah, sure.
As said, it can also be attempted, as was proposed, it could also be attempted by the security team to try and put their ears to the ground, see if they can hear anything. Or the Magister can try to manipulate the corpse with magic. Take it as you will. 3 different approaches to the same task. I think another pressing matter, if I may speak, he looks to Ammus.
Yeah.
Your Field Marshal, Sir McFrey. I think it's all very clear to all of us that your actions last time were on the path of war here. It's only a matter of time before the Duke, once he rallies his troops, will declare war on us. We need to make sure that we've got a big enough force to repel him, and that we might want to fortify certain areas if we can manage it.
That seems
I
very reasonable.
concur. In fact, our enemy has started fortifying places that we should be fortifying in the first place. The risk is not just that those strategic places go unused, but rather that they are used against us.
You're referring to the keep just outside of Freyfrost's borders, correct?
I am.
I was quite surprised when I was doing troop exercises to see activity there. It's empty only a few months ago.
I'm not. Yes, we used it as a temporary base a while back.
It is now very much occupied by mercenaries. They are building it back up.
Mercenaries, and they are plentiful. And could we oust them if we went? Well, the inner council went. Or are they too many?
We all went, probably, but the more pressing concern is that it lies outside of our political borders.
Unless waves a hand a little bit, like sort of dismissively, I suppose. Doesn't seem to be too concerned with that.
The treasurer speaks up at this point. My concern on this matter is very simple. There is no way that a group of mercenaries and bandits have simply rebuilt the place out of their own pocket. Not that fast. They wouldn't have the funding. Which means they are getting direct support from someone with wealth and power, which means any opposition to the fort will also be opposition to them.
Most likely, it's the Duke, and we are already opposing him. I don't see a problem necessarily. We're trying to take this out.
We did manage to find some documents that, well, Our Lady has been looking through, but also a really definite lead that the so-called spy master of El Sand does certainly have a hand in this, under an alias, of course.
With all due respect to all of you, if we end up attacking this, as far as the political stage will look, it looks like we mustered an attack on a fort owned by the Duke. We'll look like the aggressors.
Biggest nods, he says, that is simply the only reason why it has not already been wrested out of control. The war has not yet been declared, and so if we act first, then in the eyes of everyone, we are the ones who instigate it.
I do. So McFrey looks over. If I do recall, that Duchess you went to visit, I spoke with her people a while back. It seems they're only planning to move if this turns into a defensive war.
All right, well, we will have to leave the Fortress B for now then.
However, that doesn't necessarily mean we should not keep an eye on it, for sure.
That said, if it's that big a concern, we could attempt to. Well, we can't officially do anything. We could try to do some more subtle sabotage. We just need to be careful not to raise too many alarms with it.
It would have to be very subtle if even a hint of us doing anything before an official war is declared by the Duke, then, well, our diplomatic footing would be ruined. The Duchess might even have to pull out of backing.
I said we would need to be careful, but we need to figure out what the weight of a target is.
Well, you can keep it as an option, but unless the matter is urgent or critical, we can probably just enhance and build up our own defenses and prepare at home before we strike out, at least for now.
There's also the matter of what these, well, this attempted robbery of records, the matter of what they were attempting to steal seems quite simple, but there is one confusing aspect to it. I forget what I forget what the last thing they were looking for, but it was a weird thing, wasn't it, Dark? It was like
It was a book. I believe the last one was a book detailing a bit of a story. It was a bit of for the most part, detailing about the rise of the Raymatar family to power as bodyguards for long ago as bodyguards to the ruler.
right.
By most regards, considered a bit of just a spot and storybook.
Right.
Certainly odd.
My bigger concerns is why were they looking into our lineage, the documentation. According to the scribes who I spoke to once they managed to review it all, it appears that entire sections of genealogical history were taken. Family records going back generations.
Odd. I don't see exactly why anyone would do that.
Unless they seek to find some way to find some issue or loophole in that they can politically denounce your right to power.
Raiden at this point looks up. I think I can answer that.
All right.
It's a hunch. But given the Duke's, he kind of waves the hand for a moment, relations with the church, he could potentially be looking for someone with a claim to our family, even if it's just a distant cousin, and try to see if he can get the church to press a claim on it to say they're legitimate. Which would potentially giving him political right to try and contest Eliza's title. Currently, he has no right to contest it.
That seems rather far-fetched. The Raymatar family is well established.
But branches happen.
And doubtful that they would attempt this if there wasn't a reason for it.
I said it's a theory, but it's the best one I got for why they'd be looking at our records.
I mean, if such a thing came to pass, is there even, if someone comes a political claim and the church's power behind it, what is the recourse politically? I mean, what would you suggest in response?
Sir McFrey looks over. Well, it gives them two options. They can either try pressing it. They'd either try pressing the claim in war, but it'd be a justified one at least, making it easier for them politically. Option two would be them taking it to high court, to a higher court tribunal, such as bringing it before the actual crown itself.
Havnas shakes his head slightly. It seems like a long shot. Things like that would take a very long time, especially with how well established the Raymatar family is. If nothing else, we could certainly claim that services rendered over many generations would just equal royal status or noble status anyway.
Now, that's not the debate here. The debate, Billy looks to you, is Eliza the true heir to the line, or can he find some loophole to try and say that someone else is the true descendant? Cousins, marriages, he could have waved a hand. You know how nobles get all intertwined with each other.
Oh, yes.
He doesn't need to disprove a lie. He simply needs to prove that he has it, that he's found someone with a better claim. At least convince people that.
Right.
And they did get the records, right?
Yes.
Well, nothing we can do about that now, unless we somehow know where the records are, and we are sure that there's been no copies of it. Which I don't think we do.
I think at this point it's safe to say that they have made the copies they need to, or it's not where we can easily find them.
Now, I understand that you found something else while investigating that keep. Makara looks over, staring straight at Vicus with eyes like ice.
Yes, to put it plainly, we found a mirror, magical, capable of communicating with the pair, and through that well, it seemed to match one that the Duke of Alsen's spymaster has access to. He seems to be operating under an alias, commanding the mercenaries in the hold, and presumably organizing the, well, attempts at the coronation. And yes, I used it to attempt to gain information. He himself wasn't there, but I managed to convince a guard to give up his current alias, which I gave to our good Royal Enforcer here to look into.
A definite potential for us to try and track down the spymaster and remove him from play, if possible.
Yes. The also worrying issue is that he seems to have connections to, well, the blades of Cold Harbor and is using them.
I'm
quite
unsure.
differently.
I'm unsure if he is using them or not. The interrogation of the subjects you brought back were interesting. It's unclear. The blades of Cold Harbor were definitely hired by someone to interfere with the meeting, but the best I can tell, it wasn't the Duke.
And we have another player, or perhaps retaliation for our efforts previously.
The best I could tell, they met with a contact in the city of Creston down south, which is quite a distance from here. It's a foreign player to this region. Perhaps someone from one of the core cities. Not clear. But someone didn't want things to go as planned.
And they had plenty of contingencies.
Regardless, it is a lead on us, regardless. So if we have time, we could try to backtrace it. I got some things from them, at least.
It probably worth looking into if we do have like a third party trying to interfere in our business. It seems like we should know that as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
One of the most important things in war is to know your enemy. And in this case, it's very literal. We don't know who that enemy might be. That seems important to investigate.
I agree.
Yeah. I can certainly look into it.
Seems like a good idea to me.
When it comes to the mirror, I believe you removed.
Yes, it's still... how would you explain? It is within this scarf. Portable hole, I believe it's called. So if he does use it, he cannot use it to discern where it is, or at least where here is.
Appreciate it. I could store that inside. I could store that inside of a sealed room of the tower. Put wards around it so it's inactive if you need.
It certainly would be appreciated, quite safer, and honestly, I could use the space for other things. And in the future, if we need to use it as I believe Lady Tanaliel mentioned it could be used as an, well, a focus for magic, teleportation perhaps, an avenue to use.
Potentially. These things are often guarded, so teleportation through them is not always the safest. Not impossible, though.
An option nonetheless.
It would cost me some power, but Makara thinks for a moment. I would need time to research the mirror, ensure he didn't put any safeguards on it,
He nods.
or break them if he has. But it could be an option.
It's certainly a risky option, but having it as an option is good to have.
If I may, all this talk of war is great, Dame Rochelle speaks up. But there is other matters to consider. We still have a realm to manage. I don't know if you've noticed, but the Highlands as a whole is not a great territory when it comes to food. Huge amount of the money I end up pulling in, we have to reinvest in just subsidizing food, getting traders to come and sell it to us. There's very little farming up here at the moment. Most of the crops freeze over. The Wood Elves have been helping. They've been, whatever deal you struck with them, they've been coming into the city and selling quite a large quantity of meat, but it only makes up so much.
Well, given that we have an alchemist on retainer, surely something could be concocted to assist.
I did find while looking through our records, there were some notes here about some kind of strange project that you had all discovered about someone doing some farming things with tinctures, and she waves her hand, clearly not knowing alchemy.
Yes.
Wasn't there I'm thinking back now, wasn't there something Zed was looking into, like terraforming or something?
There was now a chemical farming project the group found all the way back in chapter 1.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah,
That is not done, but it's a project that could be worked on by one of the administrators, potentially.
Sure.
as a player, I said had a spell that could like enhance like growth of plants and that kind
right.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. That seems relevant for us.
If we can find some way to make the crops survive the cold, it would greatly help our current income, as we wouldn't have to subsidize all the crops. Mechanically, on the income section, you were currently taking a -4 to the total income from food shortage.
Oh, yikes. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
So Sorkai's only producing an income of 3 instead of an income of 7.
Right.
On that note, Sia will also speak up. Since the matter has come to my predecessor and food shortage, I would also like to recommend a construction work. There has been notes or mentions in the notes about a shrine to a dark fae that could provide us a plentiful or very disastrous winter. And if a disastrous winter comes now with the wood shortage, Sorkai might not stand very well, specifically in war. As for
Asenia, she is the ice pixie, I think it was pixie, of Half Moon Temple. She was really powerful.
yeah,
Mikara looks very annoyed at her being mentioned. Perhaps for being frozen in ice for a long time.
Yeah, we really need to sort out that thing for her, like, at some point.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
We gotta
recommend
keep that deal. Gotta keep
do it now as a construction thing, because
Mm.
only other construction which we have is a harbor, and sure it's important, but it would take most of our money, and we need some resources also to military.
The
Yeah.
harbor, the harbor would vastly increase trade, however, and allow for quicker troop movement when it comes to between our allies and us.
Would be useful, but it would seem that the focus would rather deal with our problems with our resources, and then we can pull from elsewhere.
Amanas, it's somewhat annoyedly like drums his gauntleted hand on the pommel of the greatsword. this dark fair. It is powerful enough to actually do what is threatening.
As far as from the notes I know, it is a guardian of a Druidic circle, so it should be.
Makara grumbles for a moment. Yes. The While itself is decently powerful, the power it can truly wield if it's given time could indeed do something such as weather manipulation or similar.
I'm gonna,
It's full-
massages his temples a little bit, and then he says, "Oh, very well. Then we will construct this shrine and hold our end of the bargain. But that creature better pray not to try to make this a habit."
Lady Nariah suddenly speaks up. You know, if it's that powerful, could we not, I suppose, entrance with it? I think these things like bargains and all. Imagine unleashing cataclysmic weather upon our enemies.
That is true. If they come within the pass, there's no reason why a deal struck with the Pixie could not bring a blizzard upon them in the middle of the pass to cut off from supplies, or even cut them off from supplies.
Well, I assume that we need to complete the shrine first for such a deal to be able to be struck.
I'd imagine so. Though she was very willing to strike bargains.
Looks at Ceres, looks at Mikara.
I
thinks of
will
it for a second.
remind you that it was not a deal that I made. It was a deal that Zed made.
He also seems quite willing to freeze people for eternity. But
This deal
Poor
was
Zed.
the deal that I struck. Lady Eliza bows her head slightly.
Doran frowns a bit. Who do I talk to get a list of potential magical creatures that might threaten the city? This is the first time I'm hearing about this. It seems relevant to my purpose.
Makara looks over. Please, come up to my tower later. We'll have a talk.
Understood. As for bargains, if this creature does not randomly decide to alter the deal or is not known to do it, it might actually be a valid option. Of course, anyone who makes a deal expects to get more out of it than they put in.
Selena, according to our mythology at least, the best I've been able to look up. It's not an area I'm an expert in, but she's always kept deals in the past when they've been struck. She's actually been very well known for keeping her deals. Just also exacting vengeance on those who don't keep their end.
Well, we shall build the damn shrine then.
Rochelle looks rather sad about that, possibly because she doesn't like spending the money.
Our obligations first, and then the harbor. It wouldn't do to be caught in the middle of a war in the middle of winter, and then price is enacted. It would be devastating.
Ryden looks through his notes for a moment. We mentioned the topic before of the docks. Well, that may not be a thing for immediately, perhaps. There is more than we could construct than just simply the docks. Refurbishing them, of course, would be great militarily and good for trade. I was looking around the region. It would actually there's actually enough resources around that could make a decent new settlement if we wanted to set up an entire industry around the docks.
It would certainly assist in defending it, considering how far it is away.
It would also be an extra source of just in general more resources, potentially more people might flock here. Rochelle looks over. That would be incredibly expensive, and how would Sorkai has the benefit of the wards around it? The people would freeze. I could ward the region. It'd be difficult, but if potentially we're able to expend some of the power that I've been gathering, it could be done if we're doing the construction.
I think the shrine, then we sort out the farming problems. If we found another settlement up here with having food shortage, that seems like a recipe for disaster.
No, I definitely agree. We would need to fix the food problems first. But how? Right now, the Highlands has a lot of barren land without much on it. Finding ways to develop it will help us a lot in the long run.
And if we're growing an army, we certainly need somewhere for people to live. Sorkai is nice and all, but there's only so much space it has.
On a similar regard, we've actually been getting such an influx of people. At this rate, we might actually need to expand.
Well, that's nice.
Thankfully, there is the undersections of the city built into the mountain. We haven't touched it yet; it's all in ruins at the moment. But we could rebuild part of it and have buildings under there sheltered from the cold.
Certainly be useful.
Of course, with food shortages, we need to be careful about how much we expand.
Yes. There is also the, well, put it plainly, we have a magical forge and we should probably find someone who can work there full time. Makara is a woman of many talents, but time is certainly something that we all have less of. Would not rather.
I will admit, chronomancy is an area I have not specialized in, and with all the work that you have already set to assign, I do not know if I will have the time to forge you creations and do the work you need.
Then perhaps we need to look for someone. Unless someone already knows anyone. That would be easy.
Amanasi looks over to Raiden.
Eliza looks over to Raiden. Raiden can look back and forth a bit panicked from it.
Someone perhaps willing to do something other than stewardship, perhaps.
Amanasi looks at Raiden.
Look, I am more than capable. Like, yes, I do know how to use the forge, especially with an expert like she looks to Makara. He looks to Makara beside him. That is certainly not an issue, but right now isn't. I feel like general construction work is more important for the realm. There's so much going on.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't say to leave it empty, but I feel it is easier to find a steward than someone who is, well, capable of the magical forging arts.
Eliza has a bright smile on her face. And think, you could finally do your hobby full time. You're not forced to do the books. You won't be.
Less paperwork, more forging. That sounds probably more fun to you, I'd imagine.
He had a slightly lost expression for him because he's kind of been forced to do the paperwork for like so long.
Yeah.
He only knows the paperwork.
Like because
Freedom.
he's been functioning effectively as steward since he was like 14.
Yeah.
So
I've seen all your hobby stuff. I know what you want to do. But yes, given that option, then it would seem that finding a steward that can take that place would be, for one, easier in terms of skills, but secondly, well, putting out a call for a steward is less, less recognizable than looking for a craftsman for a magical forge. It's not necessarily we want to advertise what we have.
my lady, Charlotte quietly speaks to Ceres.
Yes, Charlotte.
We have also received a report that the giants have indeed sent someone to speak with us. Seems they are interested in doing trade or whatever else we're potentially open.
Well, that's promising. If we can perhaps open the route for trade with the giants, and perhaps.
Did you
even
say
sec-
trade?
Hang on.
Michelle looks over.
Chill out, Michelle. In the process, perhaps securing their aid in the coming war.
Well, having frost giants on our side would certainly be something.
Frost giants would certainly tip the scale in our favor.
Coordinating giants would be. They have no military structure.
They do have a hierarchy, though,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I'm aware.
They have a culture, and if we can push their leaders hard enough, I'm sure they can enforce some form of structure on their people.
That said, even if they are not allies in the war, they are neutral if we trade with them. I'd rather not have giants as well be a problem while we're at war. So it is a good idea to establish relations with them.
I'm certainly not doubting that giant strength could be useful. I'm just worried about coordinating them with our current forces.
Probably have to use them as some sort of shock unit on the flanks or similar.
Or
I
Gazilia.
don't think they can be properly integrated into the actual forces. He looks
No.
over to McFrey over there.
Gillian shakes his head. I wouldn't be able to do it alone. At least I would need I need more hands. I need someone to get used to working with the giants, spend time with them more.
Ceres looks at Torin.
I think
Someone who isn't
I
bogged down by paperwork.
Yes, I think our warden may be too busy to spend weeks with the giants.
It's true.
I'm also not the most suitable. Besides, I don't think it needs a person with any particular skill set, simply one that has time. Anything can be solved with enough training, even timing with giants.
A quick learner would be appreciated, though. Someone's able to pick up on things quite fast.
Well, it seems we need to go on a recruiting drive for this council.
Theo can train the giant.
It seems like I need to summon courtiers or something.
Yeah. You're like, I want this person, and I'm going to get them.
I need to find a person, and they're going to exist, damn it.
Well,
Command them into existence.
Come on, just will them into existence with with all of my charisma.
all your
Exactly.
will. Just summon shadow people.
Just shadow people.
It's like what's implied that Emperor Palpatine did to like
Yes.
make Anakin Skywalker. He like impregnated the Force.
Impregnated the Force. What?
Yeah. Because he doesn't know. It's like there's no father. He was just born, right?
Oh
Just
no, we
this-
already had this conversation last week about giving
Yeah,
birth to shadow people. That's what Ceres is doing,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You remember? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
remember.
That's what's gonna happen. She's gonna give
Do I
birth
need
to
to
the
add this?
shadow
Do
people.
I need to add this as a mystical project?
Dark
Or shadow
shadow
people.
Shadow
courtiers.
birth.
Shadow courtiers everywhere.
Shadow
I mean,
monsters.
I mean, I can add it as a research project if you want me to.
Everything's shadow people now. Shadow court, shadow people.
Yep.
Shadow.
Conception.
Shadowception.
Oh, all right. Well,
So Gillian continues, speaks up some more. To my best efforts, though, I've been trying. We don't know exactly when the Duke will decide to declare his war. But given the fact that, to my understanding, his troops are not ready for it at the moment, he has them, but they're not. Given the Duke's previous efforts, it will take some time before he will attack. He'll want to call in favors. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. Well, he already has plenty of troops. He's going to assess the situation first.
Is there a way that we could perhaps dupe him into preparing on odd flanks? I'm thinking I want to be able to put more pressure on the marchlands to our east. Is it possible that we could perhaps move troop arrangements or fake troop movements on the eastern borders to something that perhaps he will then react to, move troops closer to that border?
question. Didn't you try to convince the marshlands man that Duke was coming for him?
That he might come from him, yes. So that's what I mean, is if I can add more fuel to that fire by not having troops ourselves there, but then the Duke starts actively moving people into like near the marshlands borders.
Are you suggesting that the government of Sorkai engineer a false flag operation to...
No. I suggest that we fake military movements, or we
Right, so false flag.
well just pretend people are
Yes.
there.
So false flag is just a negative word. We
It's
prefer
just a negative
alternate warfare.
alternate. All we need is his troops near that border, and I can convince the Viscounts that the Duke is a threat to his people.
Sure.
And then if I can convince the Viscount that the Duke is a threat, I think that his own advisors will begin to sway him in.
I mean, sure. The thing that comes to my mind in that case easiest way would be to just hire, some sort of mercenary group to just ravage the countryside a little bit, and then he'll be forced to move troops closer. But I don't know if we have the money for such expenditures.
I mean, it's a suggestion for our marshal that it would help in my cause.
Given that we're going to be eventually, presumably, if all goes well, fighting a defensive war, then it would make sense to have, well, defensible places fortified, right? I don't suppose we already have pinpointed some strategic locations for that, have we?
So Gillian speaks up. I have some key locations, both here in the Highlands, if they get that far, as well as down in Freyfrost. That fortifying them, putting up defenses, barricades, temporary wall structures. It would severely help any war efforts. For anything that happens, though.
Yes.
It'll take time to construct, though. So.
Given it takes a while, it makes sense to do it early then, in case the Duke somehow miraculously gets his troops together in record time.
Makara thinks for a moment and looks over to Seal. The others were speaking about trying to confuse, trying to feel paranoia with the Duke's efforts. You're an expert in illusion magic, aren't you, Seal?
Somewhat, yes. I am dabbling in.
It could be an interesting project, if I do say, for us to. We could always try to use illusionary troops to manipulate the Duke.
Oh yeah, that is most certainly possible.
It would cost quite a bit of power to do so, but we have plenty of reserves.
Yeah, it should be possible. I can make troops, and movements.
All right.
Look like that.
Seems worth looking into then.
On that topic of giants, even if trade might be a bit off and getting troops, you could kind of just wave the hand to so free. Still, getting in good graces with them, and said you don't want too many enemies up here. Maybe perhaps you could show them. Perhaps you could show them the true might of their new allies, the new masters here. I do think that you did seem to impress them the best I could tell, Your Majesty.
Cameras nods.
I
believe his was
Sorry, go ahead.
No, he's just. I believe he was suitably impressed. Yes. But you then think that we need further strength demonstrations?
Well, you managed to impress that emissary, which was good, but given that we have one of their emissaries here, I mean, I don't mean to speak for your time, but if you end up having time, going and, well, I think you're strong enough that you could probably wrestle them into a ground. That you could. I'm sure that you could certainly curry more favor with them, personally, if you have time, of course.
Unless
Just putting options out there.
thinks for a bit, and then he says, I suppose I can't say that I've ever fought a giant, but I should relish the opportunity, I guess. Can certainly look into it.
Alternatively, catalyze it over. Alternatively, of course, we have our new allies over in the Silver Isles. There's always the potential of, while we've got the Duchess's support, potentially we could try to see if we can get more support from her vassals, or try to see if we can just find anyone over there to recruit.
One possibility also is we have this cat merchant here, which has the
Oh, yeah.
connection to the Free State that is about trading and stuff.
Well, didn't we want him for something? What was that?
You were joking last time about reverse making him into your ambassador from the Free State.
Ah, yes.
Rochelle looks over. That's not a bad thought, actually. Valencia is given a lot of autonomy where it's allowed to be able to function in its own place despite the Empire royally smashing through it hundreds of years ago. It has a lot of wealth over there and a lot of resources. It could be a good place if we need to source materials in general. The only downside is the travel time to get there and back. We can... Anything we purchase will take time to get to us. The lack of the port, largely the issue there. The land routes are long, as you understand.
Right.
But it is an option. They are valuable. And you said there is...
Talking about you missed
no.
him and then hit Dino.
I assume we're referring to the same tabaxi.
Maybe.
I think so.
Given I believe it's the only tabaxi we currently have living here.
I suppose it could be a way to get mercenaries or something like that from outside. But once again, it comes down to money. We don't have that much.
I'm not the biggest fan of doing this, Eliza states. We could always turn to the local nobility of Freyfrost and to what few nobles you have up here in Sorkai. Seem to request if we can seem to try and see if we can coax them into giving funding to our efforts.
Sure. We have people whipped up in somewhat of a patriotic frenzy. Should not be impossible.
Though, speaking of nobility, Rochelle sounds almost annoyed at saying this. There has been quite the social circle gathering down in the noble quarters. It appears... She looks straight at Ceres. Lord Shell has gathered quite the grouping.
Of course.
Oh no.
What's Lord Shelton?
Wow, Lord Shell seems to be having them. Have them under the assumption that he well that he was sent here to aid your great mission.
I think sent is a bit of an exaggeration, but okay.
You may want to speak with him.
Alright.
He's having delusions of grandeur.
Yeah.
Is he getting a bit too big for his shell, perhaps?
I think a
Well,
bit too big for a shot.
Well, he's also exhibited what looks like divine magic. So take that as you will.
Divine magic.
You should
What-
let them that.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
Oh my god, is he a paladin?
I don't know magic myself, but
What is
Paladin
Lord
awakened
Shell
tortoise.
exactly?
I don't know magic
Maybe he
either,
can
but
use
that
the
certainly
raised
sounds
undead
troubling.
and speak undead spell.
That would be
From the-
hilarious if he's
He's the court necromancer.
a shell paladin.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Chromatic turtle. Okay, I might be
Yes.
accepting that.
Necromantic turtle. Okay, I'll talk to Lord Shell at some point.
that's it. Any potent spellcaster does something for us to keep an eye out for. I'm rather alone on my team as it stands, and also, having them in our court will be very useful.
I mean, I have some connections to the south, but I don't think I will be able to convince them to join us. You know, with mages and stuff.
I have one last matter to bring up. Lady Nariah speaks up. We've spotted strange movements in the hills. I have near an area that I believe your group previously investigated. An old area that was once infested by goblins. I believe some kind of shrine you discovered there. There have been people poking around.
I do not recall the shrine.
It was the same shrine that you got the cat's eye from.
Oh, that thing.
The shrine,
yes.
the shrine to Orcus you smashed.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I do remember that.
It makes me nervous anyone poking around some kind of demonic shrine, I'll be honest.
It was very corrupt, and the infestation had gone on for a long time. I did manage to purge it, I believe. But another look might be wise one of these days.
Kind of council looks around. There's a little bit more discussion that goes on between some people, especially when it comes to, like, the number crunching.
Sure.
Yeah.
The more the bureaucratic side of things, as it always goes. But for the most part, unless if any of you have anything more to bring up, the council will begin to kind of reach its natural end.
I do not have anything else. I believe we should assign some project and get cracking. We certainly have a lot.
Yes. As you've been talking, I have been filling out the project section with additional things that were mentioned.
All right.
Padding it out with various things that we just spoke.
Redacted. Redact all the cult stuff.
Yes.
Is there a comment put on here? I don't see.
Yes.
Yeah. Seal mentioned to our good scribe dancer here to basically mark all the military and the Death Shard stuff as secret, like, censor
Yes,
it.
yes, of course. That will all go redacted. So only CL will get the true copy of that, and the rest in the actual archive it will be redacted.
I think King will also get a true copy of that.
I would prefer that, yes.
Okay. I mean, as Sage, you decide who gets copies. So if you want the king to get a copy, fair.
The King will always get a copy.
Hey.
I
Then
can always steal his anyway.
he'll make a copy for the king, a copy for CL, and all the other copies will be redacted.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Well, We need to build that goddamn shrine, and we need to get the alchemical farming going. We just have to.
Yeah, I can do the farming, and Lady Eliza could do the shrine.
That is an option. So
Uh,
for constructing the shrine must be constructed either by a mystical advisor, by Zed, or by Eliza.
Right?
I think Eliza can do it. Then
Would she be comfortable doing that?
She made the pact; she would be comfortable doing it.
Very well then.
Alright.
And that is what she shall do.
That will cost 30 of your 125 in the treasury.
All right, go. Do it.
Alcentius Shrine, and that goes to Eliza.
And that's like our free project, so we
Yeah,
can still
that
do
goes
the
into the free.
diplomatic thing.
Yeah, that goes into your free construction project slot.
Might I ask, what exactly is this shrine gonna be? Like, is it like just a like a Stonehenge type thing, or is it just or is it like a throne of skulls for this fair to sit on?
Well, the pixie did not prescribe one, which means it's up to the leader building it to decide how it's going to look.
I think Eliza will figure something out that's decent. I can
Throne
trust
of
her.
skulls it is.
Oh, it depends on her role, I guess. So,
Yes, we will see how Eliza does building it.
alright. Alright, Amonis, what do you want to do?
Good question.
You're the only one of your type, so you get to decide what you want to do all by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah,
I suppose
you're the only
I,
leadership.
I suppose I will go to visit the giants in the highland.
Alright.
Do you want to hear petitioners?
I mean, I always want to hear petitioners, but with the giants being here and it's being indicated that's a good thing to sort of browbeat them a little bit, maybe that is a good idea. So I will do that.
Very well. That will be your major project other than your paperwork for this month.
Yeah.
I mean, since I'm gonna be doing research, the farming, that should be our research project, right? Or is that like administrative project?
Farming is a research administrative project, so it can be done either it's general by research or it can be done by the administrative branch.
I mean, we don't have any other like administrative stuff, so I guess it goes administrative.
Yeah, I don't think we need to levy any taxes, and I think we're fine with letting the construction project go ahead by itself without Raiden boosting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
So.
thankfully the shrine is only a one-turn construction,
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that sounds fine.
so it's only going to take a single council turn. It's not like a cathedral, which might take like 5 to do.
Yeah.
So you want to use the administrative slot for alchemical farming,
Yeah.
and you're going to assign CL to do that research.
Yes.
Now you have the diplomatic thing, which only Ceres is available for doing diplomatic because Eliza is busy constructing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's up to you. What you want to do.
For what project? I can't.
So with you, we can like seek noble funding, trade with the giants, provoke, Daredevil, or you can do your summon courtiers and try and find someone for a spot we need, probably, or for something we need, someone to do something, like a forge master maybe, or a steward in the case we'd replace Raiden.
I do think that summoning courtiers would be more pertinent right now.
Yeah.
For the longevity, I suppose.
So out of curiosity, Dark, how good would Raiden be at the job of a forge master?
He'd be pretty decent at it, to be honest.
All right.
I don't remember if his score's as good as being steward or better than being steward, but it's about similar for being steward. Might be a point higher, actually, I think, than being steward. But not bad.
Yeah, because if you can get a decent courtier and get a good steward, then that helps a lot, I think, building stuff. So.
The diplomatic project, summon courtiers, has to be Ceres who does it.
Yeah, hey, maybe he gets a bonus for doing something he loves. I don't know. Who knows?
He might.
Yeah, mystical.
undead research? Or
Yeah. Do we want to? I think the undead ASMR is probably.
or that or the mirror, either one.
Yeah. I think the undead ASMR is better because this is like a. We need to know what that is, and if there's more people that are like that.
Yeah. After that, we can move to the
So,
evolutionary
something
filter.
is up with that undead ASMR. It didn't just pop into
Huh?
existence by
Yeah,
itself. It was
I wonder
either
what your walls are
created
pink.
or raised or like came back for some other reason. Need to know what that is
So
about.
not to alarm you, but your walls are pink.
Yeah, I agree.
That can also be researched by the security team. So take a pick.
Oh,
It's up to you if you want her to try speaking the body, or you guys want to try like digging into records, or like listening to the ground.
but it would be like we get a free one, right? But the person doing it would be not be able to do anything.
Yes, if you do have a free research project, so you could do something like that without just occupying council, but not occupying the slot.
I guess it would make sense for one of the security wants to do it, because then we can actually use the car to do a mystical one as well.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
I guess
So maybe we should figure out the security one first, and then we have a lot of security stuff.
There are a lot of potential things for the security team to do.
Oh, what do you think, Sheep?
I mean, I'm of free minds here, which is
Yeah.
terrible.
I know.
I think that fort on High Hill is of reasonably high priority, but not the highest. Like it's full of a bunch of bandit equivalents, basically. Like it's annoying and would be nice to get rid of that, but maybe not the most important thing. And we can't overtly act against it, so there's a chance of if we act against it, even subtly, that we get detected,
It could
and
go
then
wrong.
they're like,
Yeah.
oh, look, they attacked us. Now we totally have reason to go to total war. The other thing would be to just fortify, which seems absolutely reasonable. Whereas the third idea is, I mean, we have a little bit of unrest. It would, I assume, be a security project to work against it. Right, Idios?
So right now you don't have any major ways to reduce it unless you want to send Mazzara to just get rid of the people causing unrest.
No, that seems a bit extreme and also
Um,
counterproductive.
Yeah, currently you don't have any way of lowering unrest at the moment, but something might pop up to do that. So
Right.
Yeah, I would then my preference would be to fortify Freyfrost, followed shortly by trying to do something as that stupid fort.
All right. The only thing I have like that I would want to do is to look into the Alcens Biomaster to see if we can get some like advantage. But given that that's a variable time because we don't know when they're gonna go to war, I can probably help research do the like undead ASMR thing. I don't know if undead they're not immune to mental stuff, so maybe I can like figure out something there.
I mean, worst case, you're the spy master. You can put your ear to the ground.
Yep. I think I'll put myself in as the undead ASMR research project.
But in research project, the undead Azma.
Yeah. And then Thorn can do one of the whichever project he wants for the security.
Torn.
Sorry, I zoned out. What was the question?
So Vickers has assigned himself to do research in the undead Azma,
Yes.
which leaves you to decide security.
Yeah, let's fortify Freyfrost.
Okay, and do you want to do that personally, or do you want to have Mazzara be the head for that?
No, Torin is gonna do that personally.
Okay. That simply leaves mystical and military need to be assigned now. The two NPC only roles.
I mean, military can also fortify the Highlands or
Yeah.
investigate the cultists. So
Alternatively, they can do recruitment of like trying to just like make you more troops.
right.
How urgent do we feel the cultists are?
I mean,
getting the problem right away would be handy.
yeah,
So
I
it doesn't
think
spread.
I think we should probably get someone to check that out, like this month at least. Because the longer we leave it, the worse it's probably going to be.
Yeah.
So
set the scout team.
We can send Gillian to do it. He's pretty smart, right?
I mean, Gillian could deal with it. It's just Gillian personally feels like he'd be better served right now, given what's coming, just readying more troops. But
So that's what I'm thinking too. Like we are on the cusp of war here. So
Sure. I mean,
this
if it's
cultist problem seems.
yeah, I'm looking
less
at her. I'm
hard.
looking at the manpower here, and I'm seeing like it's his own personal suggestion. So yeah, maybe he should get more.
like you got spare people lying around now. He can hire more troops.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Let's have him hire more troops then.
Because
The thing about cultists is that there's always cultists. Like as long as they're not an immediate problem, it seems premature to go after them.
Yeah.
I feel so too. They haven't really done it.
Like we definitely have a war coming.
Yeah.
We maybe potentially have some angry cultists. Like okay, sure.
Yeah, but we do for sure have a war coming, and we should
Yeah.
prepare for that.
because what Gillian is proposing is he wants to potentially try and hire some more archers, more obelisks.
Sure,
Sounds
sure.
good. Yeah.
Get our dwarven contacts running. Get some heavy crossbows and stuff.
You have
running.
to train up a bunch of troops, but you've got manpower to spare. So
Get some repeating heavy arbaleths.
Oh, that would be good. Like repeated crossbows. Like.
yeah, Gillian's current approach is you just need more manpower. He doesn't want to promote your current troops. He just wants to make more manpower.
Yeah.
I think for the mystical, either the mirror or the illusory troops is probably a good idea here.
I mean, illusionary
50-50.
troop would like set up the military later on for
Yeah.
and the diplomatic. So
Yeah, it helps diplomatic stuff as well. I'm thinking so. Like if we do the troops this month, then maybe it can help Sarah's next one to like I don't know, do some diplomacy and try and convince that they're getting attacked or going to be getting attacked.
You.
Yeah. Anyone else have any opinion, or we just go with the troops?
Troops is fine. You always need troops.
It's the illusionary ones.
Illusionary
It's the ones to try and fool.
Oh, sure.
Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, if I honestly feel that's a long shot, but
Yeah, but we also have
Sarah's did-
Mikara doing it, so she's gonna be pretty good at doing it.
It is a long shot, but if Sarah's hadn't put in the like the effort to scare the ambassador, I would just say no. But with that in mind, it might work. Might be worth it.
Oh, just give it a try.
The illusionary troops can go two ways. It can go to it can either try to buy you more time in that it will make the Duke more cautious to attack you because he'll think you'll have more troops.
Yeah.
Or it can be to try and get Duradeveld to act thinking he's going to get invaded. Depending on which way around you want to target that. So
Tricking the marshes, I think, is the way to go. Because the Duke has a lot of wizards. You could probably see through illusions.
Yeah, so
But I don't think the
tricking
martial
other
lads
guy.
can. So.
No.
okay then.
So DDS, could you do me a favor and get rid of that silly nickname you gave Torren? I am not a fan.
I mean, that's what the group as a whole said. So
But I am not a fan of the group as a whole.
Fair enough.
you didn't have a surname to add. So
His surname is Torin.
He has a surname, he just doesn't want to use it.
His name is Torin.
Torrenson of Torren.
Yeah.
So-
Torin, son of Torin land.
okay, so in the council projects, does that look correct for everyone?
Yes. Yes, that looks good. What did we want to summon courtiers about? You need like a
Yes, I will.
target,
I,
right?
I will need Halldamir to specify the type of courtiers he's going to summon.
All right.
I mean,
Same time.
can I pick more than one or?
You pick the type of you pick the kind of thing you're looking for. You need to give me a criteria for what it is.
I mean, realistically, we need to fill the Royal Forge Master's spot. So, if that means finding a Royal Forge Master or finding a steward, like looking for people that could
I
fit
think we
either.
should look for a steward because we want to move someone who we trust as a force master, and a new
Yeah.
recruit might not be a one for that.
That's true. Like construction and stuff isn't that much of a high security role, whereas Forge Master is going to be working with our forge. So I'd prefer to have Ryden, I think, in there because we trust him relatively.
Yeah, that's fine. Then we can.
So you want to try and look for stewards.
Yeah, look for Royal Steward instead.
Which, if you do find one, you'll end up needing to reorganize the council. But that's something for Amanus to do next time. Then.
Yeah, it's fine.
Reorganizing the council is always a bit of a mess because like having someone leave office, like where's all like how do you do this? How do you do that? You know the whole thing of like when management changes.
Yeah,
But deal with it when you get there.
it should be fine.
Okay then. With that, I think I have all the information then for me to begin to process this turn.
All right.
I'm going to need to quickly take away from the amount of money you've got because you're spending 30 building credits to build the shrine.
Yeah.
We're down to 95 left in the treasury. And then we will begin to process these through then. Then after that, we get to handle the random events for the month.
All right.
Which hopefully are not be too bad.
Mm.
I say random events, semi-random events, given I curate them. So
Sure.
to be appropriate. I mean, do you want to just go from the top of leadership down, or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I need to leave at like 11:30, but if we can get it rolling.
Oh, yeah, we can get it. These won't take that long.
Oh, okay, perfect then.
We're just in council time right now.
Yeah.
So
All good.
you guys don't currently have an expedition to go out and like we need to personally go smash this ourselves. In a circle, let's go.
Yeah.
Which you can do, but that means your own characters are kind of occupied doing other things.
Yeah. All right, let's go top down then.
Okay. So Amanus, you decide to do a diplomatic mission to the Giants.
Yes.
It's a long
I am back.
Though one peculiar bit Amanus does notice on some of the walls is while there is lots of, so what he's guessing is giant up there, he also notices some sections of giant that are written kind of like Elven cursive.
Okay.
Though apparently the elves had some influence used to have some influence over the tribe. You are welcomed inside. And it's perhaps an odd experience for Amanus, given everyone is bigger.
Sure.
The smallest of the giants is about 8 foot.
Yes.
The tallest of the giants appears to be around 18 foot.
Right.
But quite the mixture of sizes. But generally, all quite bigger than any humanoid is. They appear relatively primitive, the best you can tell. Though they do seem to have quite a large forge currently working away as you kind of enter inside. You see the many giants moving around. You certainly garner a lot of attention, though, as many seem to watch as you're kind of escorted inside to go meet with their chieftain. What kind of image is Amanus wanting to project?
Oh, well, he is projecting Iron Tyrant. That is the projection here. Which means, it is the spiked armor. It is like, a polar bear fur, like slung over as a cape. Projecting military and menace, pretty much.
Despite your relatively small stature compared to them, you definitely notice a couple, especially the smaller giants, keep their distance.
Yes. The the aura of fear flows. Not that necessarily affects anyone, but it's constantly there. There's that tug.
The giants welcome you with respect.
All right.
Some of them apparently having already heard positive review, I suppose, from the ambassador who came down to you.
Sure.
Others kind of staring, looking over all the metalwork and the furs and
Sparkly sword. I mean, Arkland is decked out too. He has the mithril splint, or whatever it was, scale. I don't remember exactly.
I think it's
The second highest it was.
They're certainly giving him some attention as well. As you're moving through, it definitely appears that they're paying attention, especially about this mithril.
Yep.
Which seems to catch their attention. The giants seem, as you arrive before the chieftain. The chieftain kind of the chieftain definitely greets you very much as an equal would.
All right.
As he kind of welcomes you in kind of this kind of stone fortress into the mountainside where not quite as cold. Not that Amanus cared anyway. Well, probably cared a little bit, but didn't show it.
Exactly.
As you are kind of brought through their halls. You're here on a visit to just kind of more show your might and clearly make your presence known.
Yes.
Let's see how Amanus's overall ability with this, shall we?
Okie doke.
You have a council modifier, which you can actually use for this.
All right.
Which is on the sheet in the mod section, which is based, in your case, on charisma, wisdom, and your persuasion and intimidate skills.
Yes.
Which feels not bad. Plus 15 on the modifier. Obviously, it's not using the normal DC brackets. Still.
Sure.
As you represent the head of the nation.
I do. True.
If you have anything that you think will particularly help you during this, you'll feel free to mention it to me, but otherwise you can roll the plus 15.
Let's see here. The only thing I would like notice at top of my head is, of course, the ASMR aura, like Halo, would be shining during the state visit, projecting, divine and heavenly might. So that might impress them a little bit. There's also the fact that he is with the boots completely unmoved by cold. Like he cannot freeze.
I think
Unless it goes to like minus 90 or like some absolute insanity like that.
I think the boots definitely qualify for an extra +1 for you here. Your Azamar is already actually taken into account in your leadership role.
Yeah, as I'm resistant to cold damage, and yeah, I can tolerate temperatures as low as minus 100 degrees Fahrenheit with these on.
Yeah, the fact that you're completely unflinching while the normal human beside you is clearly like,
Poor Arkland.
certainly provides an image. I'll let you have an extra +1 on that, so 60.
All right, I'll take it. 1d20 plus 16.
That's a pretty respectable roll.
Pretty okay.
Sure, you could have got higher, but that's not 23 is nothing to scoff at.
No, I think just needs that.
As you move through the giant halls, and definitely seem to, well, they definitely treat you with honor. So they kind of show you around.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly not taking away too sensitive, but they show you, for example, the great forges they have. They briefly walk you past some kind of area with, you think, some kind of like rune stones, something probably religious for them, probably.
Sure.
You don't entirely understand. I mean, you know a little bit about religion.
I can do a religion check, I suppose.
You can if you want to know more information. Not
I have
mandatory.
I have it trained, so I might as well.
Not mandatory, but you can. So.
16.
Okay, let's note a little bit here. You think these are ancestral rune stones for the most part.
Right.
Worshipping the past ancestors, and you think, in particular, they're worshipping some kind of old giant king. You think. How you use that is up to you, but it's the information you know now.
Right. Some sort of ancestral king worship. Check.
I'm sure Amos would love king worship himself, but
He's not against it.
As you were brought through, you definitely seem to make quite the impression upon them. Where you definitely get you definitely don't feel like you're being underestimated in here.
That's good.
They're definitely kind of acknowledging the kind of power you're bringing with it. In doing so, you actually are brought. The leader seems to kind of keep giving you strange looks for a bit before he takes you before what appears to be some kind of shaman of theirs.
All right.
Seems to look at you. And speaking in actually pretty decent common compared to most of them who've been quite broken common up to this point.
Yeah.
Most of them just no giant, as it turns out.
Yeah.
The shaman speaks. Heavenly leader of the humans? Please, welcome to our holdings. We are honored to have you.
Jonas will nod graciously and say, "It is my pleasure to visit." as I am forging a realm with some new perspectives and views on things that you previously might not encounter. Many of my countrymen has a narrow view on what is permissible or what should be permissible when it comes to statecraft and allies and, well, subordinates. I take a more pragmatic approach. Hence why I am here. And also because I was invited. He will, if the ambassador Frost Giant is here, he will sort of do an indication towards him.
He's in the background, but he nods. Hmm. We can tell stories of the old. We can provide you with stone and metal from the mountain. Much metal. The elves found it of great value.
That would be remarkable, and I would be much obliged if such a thing were possible.
My people, however, do lack the same scholarship of yours. In the past, we traded for magical secrets, knowledge. Though any knowledge would be of value to my people. Well, we have
Knowledge, I am sure we can provide. We have many scholars, and all of them are quite skilled.
Chief, the shaman nods to you. That is good to hear.
What exactly, what type of knowledge are you looking for, more precise?
I seek knowledge of the outside world. My people seek knowledge of medicine, construction, technology, as well as others have heard rumors of creations your peoples have made that, well, that scare them. They seek to understand it.
Well, I mean, I can't immediately know what would scare the frost giants, but I mean,
They describe these creations, these metal monstrosities that shoot that seemingly make the earth shatter with noise, shoot fire, metal.
all right. Well, maybe we can demonstrate, but Amanas thinks to himself, probably not going to give them the secret of like siege weaponry. That seems like a bad idea.
Now Ark is looking at. They drop the cans.
Yeah, probably can't.
But we will see. Depending on what your people have to offer, we will offer in kind.
I am sure we will be able to trade much. I shall be happy to receive your trade ambassador on the matter and can discuss and hammer out the finer points with my treasurer.
I do wish to give you a gift. A gift of a story, but one that you may find valuable.
Very well. Tell me this story.
I already told you a bit, but I will tell you in more detail the story of that weapon. And so Shaman's going to go through a process of kind of explaining, kind of talking about the great battle that happened a while back between the Skaldi and the Giants. From the sounds of it, it's quite a long time ago, before the Empire had invaded the Skaldi.
Sure, sure.
And the story kind of goes on, and it's an interesting story. Then comes to a part which Amanus perhaps didn't, captured Amanus' attention in that apparently it seems that Zolzir has more abilities than you knew.
Secret powers.
And the story perhaps helping you how you understand, learning. It can do more than you knew.
All right. I'm listening.
Zolzir also has an ability it can use once per day. Of 2 spells, actually, it can use once per day.
Oh.
Because Zolzir's thing. Zolzir.
Our extra spells are nice.
Zolzir can be used to attempt to cast the spell Earthbind.
Okay.
Earthbind as a spell, if you don't know what it does, forces a flying creature to attempt a straight saving throw or plummet to the ground, essentially.
Okay.
That's useful for you.
Yeah, it is.
As the Giants describe how they used it to take down, apparently, when the apparently the Skaldi tried invading on the backs of apparently giant eagles.
Oh. Oh, Scaldy.
I mean, not a bad option to get up the mountain, necessarily. But unexpected, perhaps, for them.
Okay. I have added this note to Solsir if the story is enough for Amanas to realize or get instructed on how to activate this power.
Yes, the shaman will explain it to you.
All right.
There is one other thing it can do as well.
Okay.
It is an electrified weapon, as you are already aware, of course.
Uh-huh.
It can also be used once per day to cast Cool Lightning.
Cool lightning. Okay.
I've added both these as notes on on Zolzir in your character sheet.
Yep. What? That's cool. I like that. So what spellcasting DC? Is it going off my spellcasting DC or does it have its own?
Let's see. They would do. They'd use if the owner has a spellcasting DC, it can use theirs.
All right. Excellent. My spellcasting.
Alternate uses the item's innate quite low one. So.
Oh, I'll certainly use mine. That'll be very helpful. Core lightning and earthbind.
As once per days.
Very good.
There we go. I believe those are added now. Nope, I didn't want to roll the attack. I wanted to post the item. It's fine. It's on there. So.
All right, great.
As it looks like they infuse sort of quite a bit of druidic magic in there.
Quite interesting.
Sweet.
Which, nothing to sneeze at.
No, I'm quite happy.
And the shaman keeps you around for a while, telling you stories and kind of giving you a proper visit. But I'm sure Alan is now just like, this is now a cool thing I can do.
Yeah, no, he will be a gracious guest and listen to stories and do polite conversation and other diplomatic glad handling as best he can here.
I imagine also taking a chance with the shaman to. Can I practice this?
Sure, sure,
Calling down lightning in front of everyone.
sure. Can probably do that.
Which, let's be honest, is probably also adds to your wall.
My awesome, mighty appearance.
Yeah. Bring the lightning.
I'm the Thunder Tyrant.
Oh God, no.
But this resolves the meeting with the giants.
All right. Success.
I make a note, it's improved relations with them slightly, and also you unlocked secrets of also.
Yeah. And maybe, they send some merchant or something to discuss with Rochelle exactly what they need and what we can trade back. I am of a mind to certainly give them as much information as we can provide, but keep some of the, military secrets to ourselves, probably.
Right, we'll go. The next one should be quite quick to go through. So, recruiting a military squadron. I mean, I'm not going to role play this out. Gillian's. None of you are Gillian, so Gillian goes off and attempts to recruit arbalists, since that was his plan.
That seems good.
That's a natural 20.
You're muted, okay.
Oops.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
We not only get arbalists, we get snipers or something.
So,
Hawkland long rifles.
So as it turns out, he finds some very promising individuals among the recruiting pool. He thought he was just going to get crappy crossbowmen who wouldn't know what to do. No, these guys actually do seem to have a good idea what they're doing.
The great glory of the Ashen Court calls heroes to service.
As it appears, he has found some high-level arbalists to add to the court. And with a 34, he can add up to a full squad of 100 he could add.
Let's do it.
Which is going to take a little bit of manpower out of Vanderheim, as well as a little bit of manpower out of Sorkai.
That's fine. We'll get the option to add like a nat 20 quality of troops. So you should probably take that.
It's going to cost a little bit of money for him to do that.
Sure.
You have to equip them. That's going to cost an extra. Let's see, how much is that? It'll cost 25 from the treasury.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, that goes down to 70 flat then. Note for myself my arbalist for you. Which he certainly appreciates having extra manpower lying around.
Quite a lot of it.
Yeah, he eats into quite a few troops. He finds some troops that just aren't, some men who just aren't very suitable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's always part of recruitment. Is not all the manpower is necessarily good manpower.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Well, that went as well as it could have.
Awesome.
Miss Vampire, the high stage.
So, only thing that I think for like a bonuses is that since I have the scribe kind of helping me, I can inspire the scribe to work harder and better. So we can look for the notes of the previous sage, and it is also a spell that a bard can seemingly cast. But either way. And I do know as a player the spell. I don't know.
Okay. Given it's a spell that bards can cast, I'll give an extra +1 on that. With some, in your wheelhouse, you've got something appropriate. So You kind of look around. These are quite detailed notes that were previously here. And Zed had kept good kind of state of them. It does appear, though, whoever originally was working on them they had found some techniques where by adding some certain alchemical things into the soil, you could potentially make plants quite a lot more resilient to the cold than they naturally would be. It takes some experimenting to get it right. I'm not entirely sure what CL's experience with alchemy is, but she seems to do okay. Mostly.
It's like a medicine, so it's similar.
Yeah.
Mixture of medicine.
Also, she's a bard, so she knows a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jack of all trades going through.
Jack of all trades, exactly. No matter what it is.
Yeah, but that's me.
You find two good ways that you could do this, though. You could attempt to there's kind of two ways you find that you could kind of implement this for the realm as it stands. You could go out and purchase a large quantity of the materials required and start and go teach the farmers how to do it. Or you could try to just directly infuse the soil using some of the mana the group has got, and try to use magic to achieve the same results.
I mean, I will tell you, the magic has a guaranteed result.
What's that?
The spell has a guaranteed result.
I can't hear what you're saying for some reason.
If I cast the spell,
Yep.
it will reach the land for double the harvest. Guaranteed. If you are speaking like the plant growth spell.
I mean, plant growth will probably be part of the spellcasting efforts.
Yeah.
So
I guess I would recommend, the magical side.
yeah, basically the option you have is either you can spend 50 ducats from the treasury to implement the new farming solutions, or you can spend 5 mana. But it will allow for farming in Sorkai to be far easier for people to do. You can afford either option. So no, it's 4 mana it'll cost you. Yeah, 40 ducats for 4 mana.
I mean, do you have reference other people? I would go for the mana, but we will also need the mana for other things. So if it is like...
Does the mana replenish itself in any way? Or
At
do
the-
we have to shout?
At the start of each council phase, you'll get some back based on the strength of your Archmagister, which in this case is +5 back to the mana pool.
Yeah, spend it then.
Yeah, we might as well use it. We don't have any other things to use it on right now.
Well, the illusionary truth might also use it, but we might not use that right away, so...
Okay. So you want to expend 4 mana from the tower
Yeah.
as CL begins to spread this plant growth magic out over the entire realm. It's the local realm of the Highlands. How would you perform such a ritual? Would it be a musical thing? Would it be...
It is gonna be an 8-hour musical ritual for a half a mile area. Then CL repeats and repeats and repeats. Because that is the necessary for the spell.
Yes. In this case, you have the tower, which you could use as a bit of an amplifier.
Yeah.
Which makes it easier. But...
It is still gonna be like an 8-hour harvesting ritual during the winter,
Sure.
Like to make the next harvest to be great.
Yes.
Lots of the sacrificing of goats on stone altars.
and
sounds-
borrowing many of the reagents that Mikara had gathered in the tower to fuel the ritual.
I mean, if the goats are part of the ingredients that are needed, I guess they're gonna be sacrificed.
See how it's okay with sacrificing goats? Good enough.
That sounds like a king's decision, so I guess we added them for the trade.
Couldn't hurt.
Couldn't hurt, yes.
It's weird. The bar is showing more than it should be. So it's showing free for some reason. I'm not sure why it's showing free. That's weird. But she's acting weird. I'll have to deal with that in a bit. Anyway. Actually, no, I do know why. Okay. That's fine. Ciel's ritual appears to be a success as it spreads out over the land. Sorokai's food shortage is going to be changed from a -4 to only a -1,
That's pretty good.
Hooray.
increasing your income by 3.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. And the last, thankfully, -1 is being made up for the fact that Wood Elf Hunters are still helping you.
Ah, see.
You're effectively at full production now for the city.
That's great.
So the wards are still costing you, but I mean, that's fine. Darius, you're trying to recruit Gordiers.
That is a thing that I'm doing apparently.
You don't sound too excited in recruiting Gordiers.
Oh, I'm just tired.
I mean, you're looking for like stewards and like bureaucrats and administrators.
Yeah, bureaucrats and administrators aren't particularly interesting.
Any particular crowd Ceres goes to? Is she looking for? Is she looking for Is she looking for those of noble trade? Is she looking for like merchants and business keepers?
It's always an easy option to pick the nobility. I think it would probably be a smarter decision to go for more the merchants. Because in that, there's probably someone who has started out with nothing or next to nothing, has managed to create riches from that. That's the sort of person we want. Not someone who had riches and just made more riches from the riches.
Okay. Well, so you are free to give me a your check as a diplomat, which I believe is +17. Oh yeah, I forgot your intelligence is through the roof because you got the headband.
Yeah, +17. Because
Please, be the diplomat everyone wants you to be.
32.
It's not bad. Okay.
High average.
Oh, your search is successful. You will find you will have to be precise. Let's 1, 2. You will have 3 different candidates available to pick from next time. To review to see if the council likes them or not. We'll go over the details for that next time because we don't want to push through too much now, you know. But you were successful in your mission and you end up bringing back potential candidates for the court to maybe recruit from the various merchant classes. One of them apparently is a relation of a greedy banker.
No.
Absolutely
I
not.
like him already.
No.
No.
Banned. Kick him out.
If Lord Shale is here, so the greedy banker can also be here.
That's right.
You know, the king can agree.
If I have to suffer Lord Shell waddling the corridors.
But he doesn't wander around the palace right now. So.
He's being carried right on a pillar.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. He's not in the palace at all at the moment. He's just wandering. He's just harassing the noble quarter. He only comes into the palace on his pillow when he's summoned to the court.
That's good.
After all, the nobles don't have free reign in the place, even though they think they do. They only have free reign if you end up hearing petitions, which case you invite the public to come inside at that point.
Right, right.
Boy, they could have to request a meeting with you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. So we got mark that down. We've got. I need to give you 3 possible candidates next time. Okay. Makara is going to work on the illusionary troops project to try and potentially scare, potentially try to scare Derdevel into manning its borders more. Turns out, Makara's got the highest modifier of anyone here, which probably is not a surprise. She's a bit higher level than you. A natural one for only 22. Well, it's not the most convincing illusionary show in the world. Admittedly, illusion is not her primary skill, and Ciel's rather busy at the moment with farming. Farming, cool things. But it's nonetheless relatively successful. Relatively successful, at least. As she as you do hear reports, you do hear worried reports, if nothing else just from like some travelers who come in about supposedly the Duke currently having a whole bunch of troops currently manning Ferelda's borders.
All right.
I mean, to a trained eye, they'll probably see through the illusion, but
Sure.
to the already paranoid, and worried friends across the border, in the marshlands.
Yeah.
Well, you do hear reports in the coming days of him also putting troops on the border. So it appears the mission was a success.
Excellent.
This does require Makara to eat the remaining mana you had.
Yeah, well.
For some reason, why is it going down like that?
But hopefully that will draw troops and attention away a little bit.
If nothing else, it's certainly going to confuse and worry your opponent, which is good. Because certainly, now he's got to worry about, is he going to get attacked from another direction?
Right.
Which I suppose is the exact same thing you wanted out of this.
Oh, that's quite excellent.
Just correcting the weird thing that's going on conditional formatting there. As your mana pool is now dry. For the time being. Torin, you're looking to fortify Freyfrost.
It's true.
Freyfrost is a rather large area with forests, a river, and of course, multiple settlements that need defending. Does Torin have a particular thing he's a favour of? Does he like long ditches? Does he want to do barricades?
So I think Torin is actually pretty qualified for this particular task. Because previously, the job that he has done for many years is to protect and defend against the orcs.
Mm.
Probably is gonna use similar tactics here. So sort of probably something you can do like trench warfare. If there's like a strategically useful river, then he would definitely try to use that. Get some fortifications, anti-cavalry spikes and all that. Lots of cover. Force the enemy into close quarters combat, which generally he expects they wouldn't be super used to.
Mm. Try to drive them out of the open snowfields into probably the forests and such, where they have no choice but engage close up.
Exactly. Count on the fact that the Duke relies on his mages and probably hasn't focused too much on actual soldiers. So if he just has cannon fodder, basically, then you introduce some obstacles, some breaks into their formation, and then you rely on your much better trained troops to make use of that advantage.
Mm. This sounds entirely reasonable. Please, you can go ahead and give me a security roll. Given your background, I'm willing to give you a +2 on this just extra, just because you have once set up for you brought up the whole orc situation. That makes total sense here.
All right. 24. Not amazing.
Not amazing, but on the other hand, not necessarily bad. We've had a few 7s today, Christine. Not the most favourable result in D20, but still. You go out and venture, doing your best to set up these defences. Sadly, for Torin, he's not quite as familiar with this terrain as he was with the Orcish Badlands. He had a lot more experience over there. Still, you feel like you've put up relatively good defences that basically make it difficult for them to do a direct charge. And also give your people somewhere for cover against the mages as well. Which is always good. Mages need line of sight. If you can block that, all the better. You think it's definitely going to give a defensive bonus to your troops, at least, in trying to repel any attack. So that's a success. Success type. Okay. Right. We'll move to Eliza's work now. Apparently you're NPC. Okay. She finishes the shrine, all right.
Yeah.
In the month, she has the shrine constructed. As the Pixie requested, it's sitting prominently now in Freyfrost.
All right.
This kind of beautiful druidic style a stone shrine with this kind of icy crystal atop it, with some small standing stones beside it. It's very elegant, very beautiful.
Well, we have finally completed an obligation I think we signed up for like a year ago or so in real time.
Chapter 1 was definitely, I believe, when you signed that, so...
It's done.
I think it was 17 or 18. Something like that. Might be an earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, the shrine is rather beautiful and elegant, actually. Drawing a lot of attention, and some people even think it's a bit of an art piece.
Oh, well.
All right.
Actually adds 5 grandeur to the court.
Hey.
Reversing your dread slightly.
No,
Yeah,
my
no.
dread. It's going down.
Fine.
Who dares?
It also fulfills your obligation and unlocks potential projects to maybe try to entreat the fairy.
Sure.
And of course prevents the upcoming, what otherwise would have been a disaster, potentially.
Oh, of course.
A crisis would have been what it's been called. That means the last one goes to Vicus.
Yes, me.
I know we're running out of time for you, but just in time.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sadly, you're at the very bottom of the tree.
Not to worry, I have time yet.
You needed to research. You're looking to research the undead Azamar that showed up.
Yeah.
Many different methods were proposed during the council of how to do this. Obviously, you're not going to be speaking of any dead.
No.
Have you got a method that you would like to try?
Yeah, there's a few things. Given that the obvious shadow hounds that he summoned that were present when we had to leave in the first place, so many years ago, and given that he basically spouted out some cryptic statements about the line of the crown and stuff, Vickers would pretty much like to focus his attention on if he can find any records or anything about that would pertain to what that ASMR was speaking about. Like if you can place who that is, and whether or not they're related to how they got ousted from the crown.
So let's say try studying who's been on the throne, who hasn't been on the throne.
Yeah.
See if it comes up. Okay, makes sense. Vicus is no stranger to just looking through mass numbers of papers.
Yep. So let's do +19. Yes. Try that.
Vicus is very good at his job.
I'm decent at it. 33.
You are very good at your job. You spend time looking through the genealogical records, trying to figure it out. It's strange. An Azamar suddenly showing up out of nowhere, undead, and, decreeing blasphemy on the entire current royal line.
Yeah.
Does give you a thought, though, of checking the other royal lines that have existed in the past. Branch families and similar. There is one in here, actually, that stands out to you.
All right.
As you're digging through, you find a legend a while back, and stories, that there was actually one of the one of the past Azmar kings did apparently once entreat with necromancers attempting to find the secret to immortality.
Okay.
They failed miserably and just died outright.
All right.
Not the biggest surprise, and that's not the first time something like that has happened in just general political history.
Right.
But something that strikes you as you're kind of looking through that is strange documentation you end up kind of uncovering during your search, talking about, well, because at that point, essentially that's where that family line came to an end. And one of their cousins, a branch of the family, actually took over, which was actually Amonis's branch of the family.
Oh, okay.
After that point, though they did have heirs underneath them. Some interesting points there, to be sure. From what you can tell, though, Amonis's family took over rather smoothly afterwards. But there was a fairly large. There was seemingly a bit of a religious kind of mixture going on of people trying to cover up whoever this was.
Okay.
It's a bit of a stain on the royal line. Whoever to have someone tried entranced with necromancers like that. It's not very.
Right.
That's not very divine to do.
No, definitely not.
Confirming your theory, you go to check the body. And there is a marking on the body, or at least what's left of it.
All right.
That does seem to line up with one of the markings of this so-called Wolf King from long ago.
Okay.
The research isn't complete, but you did not clue to who this guy was, you think.
Okay.
Long-distant cousin of Amanus, much further up the family line.
It's certainly interesting. Undead cousins. How nice. For the family reunion.
Oh, good. Weird that he popped up though, like there of all places. Especially if he was supposedly destroyed.
Yeah, that you don't have an answer for, given the fact that he was killed. His remains were were originally buried deep in the south, and then supposedly destroyed by the church.
But they probably didn't do that. Hmm.
Something that
Yeah.
Yes, the Wolf King, Ardev the Black.
Alright.
At least what's left of him now you have.
Well, good to know his name, so we can I guess if we want to go the magical route of ousting his body and talking to him, then we have a name.
I suppose so.
You have gathered some valuable information.
Alright.
That completes the main council round here, which leaves simply events left on the side. I don't know are you leaving now, Valky?
Yeah, I do, unfortunately.
I think perfect timing for you, actually, in that sense.
Yes.
Are you okay for us to handle the round events without you, or do you want to us do that next time?
No, you can handle them just fine. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I'll have to go. So take care, guys.
See ya.
For the rest of you, then, there are a few events going on that may catch your attentions. One of them, I believe, Sarah's might want to go visit. So perhaps others, given I think the king had quite a strong reaction. There appears to be a small party going on in Sorkai right now.
Uh-huh.
Let me guess.
Being
Lord
hosted by Lord Shaw.
Shaw. Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm
I'm gonna unawaken him at this rate.
Put him to bed.
Yeah,
You-
Well,
he
that
needs to be
turned
helping
quickly. I
me.
thought you loved Lord Shell and
He
everything.
needs to be helping me, not making my life more
I
difficult.
see.
You haven't got a job for him yet.
What kind of party is Lord Shell hosting?
A very small, exclusive little noble gathering with like fine wine and cheese tasting.
I see.
Where he's getting the money from, you're not entirely sure.
Yeah.
From best you can tell, it seems like smoozing other nobles to paying for stuff for him. Given he has no landing and no estate of his own.
Oh, of course.
You know, he's just a turtle that was awakened.
I'm sure some noble thinks it amusing to spend some money on him.
Several nobles seem to find it amusing. And
Yeah,
it turns out from the rumors, though, it's not entirely unfounded, as he does appear to have some magic.
Yeah.
Which is worrying? Confusing?
I guess. Was he awakened to no magic? Like, what type of awakening was
It's-
supposed to happen
It
to
was
him?
a druidic awakening, so
Right.
strictly speaking, it should have, in a sense, just set his intelligence to 10.
Something else is clearly going on.
Yeah. So
He's becoming self-aware.
He's
Burn
already,
it.
he's already long that.
I mean, let's go find out what the fuck Lord Shell is doing and what he is. He has been left unchecked for too long.
Is it simply our Grand Ambassador Lady Talani you're going to check in, or does anyone else want to come along and investigate the turtle?
No, thank you.
Yeah,
can come
a
along.
partying turtle is not high on my list of priorities right now.
Sounds like something that the sage would want to know, or Ciel would want to know.
Very well. You may come along for the random event.
Mainly, Ciel will take away from the festival to party and inspire.
You arrive, and you are immediately offered a cocktail and some cheese.
Yes, please, thank you.
No, Ceres does not partake.
Oh,
And
don't be so sour, Lady Ceres. Have fun. You have multiple hundreds of years to do that.
Ceres will have fun after a choice of hers stops embarrassing her.
They haven't embarrassed you at the moment.
Oh,
far.
they're like getting there. They're gonna stop before it happens. Ceres does not tolerate it.
I see where the king gets his bad mood.
As I suppose you storm across the noble's house he is temporarily borrowed.
Yes.
I will use that talk to inspire Ceres, just in case.
As you find the and eventually you do run across Lord Shell sitting on a plush pillow surrounded by nobles, currently telling a story about some brave heroes defeating the Sahagin.
Ceres will stand mildly patiently.
He sees you and seems to go quiet.
Ceres like gives a look to the nobles, like a get the fuck out look.
The nobles, well, you know enough to clear the room.
Yeah. And once, like the last one, closes the door, she'll say, Shell, I feel it is good time that we talk.
Lady Taranio.
I have some questions, and I expect that you'll answer.
Tilts his head slightly and smiles. He waves one of his stubby legs towards the couch.
She nods, but she just moves closer, like she doesn't actually go to the couch, but she'll sort of like nod for Seal if she wants to. Then she'll say, Shell, I have some simple questions. One, why the party?
Why not? Why can't I enjoy the things you all do?
Oh, certainly you can.
Because you're not a person.
He's a person now. Of
Just
course.
have any rights.
Of course, you're allowed to enjoy the things that we do. My question is why you let them, I suppose, treat you like an oddity and something to parade around at the expense of their purses.
It's been fun. And getting to know people is not a bad thing, is it? I know names. I know who does things.
Information is always good, and
I know nobody else around here, you know. Actually, I know no one else in the world because, you know, I kind of just created.
You were.
And there's no one else like me. Ever.
That was in fact my whole point. Doing so.
Kind of depressing, you know, knowing that there's never going to be anyone else like me.
Who said there would be no one else? Ever.
I don't know many of them. I don't know of many other turtles given sentience around here.
Does not mean it could not happen again. Though, unlikely. Though I understand the depression, it is not like I am surrounded by my own people. And my own reunion with my own people will not be a very kind one.
I suppose that's true.
My second question, Shell, is I have heard rumors of powers. I would know of someone who exhibits powers and what they can do.
Quite fascinating ones, actually. I really do. I really do think that you rescuing me was an act of providence.
An act of providence? I do not think anyone could say that about myself. Do explain.
Well, given the fact that I've had the ability to heal wounds now, and I don't know how I can do it, so. And they'll begin to discuss with you and like explaining how essentially Lord Shell woke up, suddenly found himself surrounded by a blinding light, got very confused, fell off the bed he was on. The light went away. Eventually got himself up. And somehow found out he could do magic. And he kind of describes it more and more to you. Did Lord Shell have a sorcerer's awakening?
A sorcerer's awakening?
You think so?
The divine soul.
Yeah.
Yes!
Oh my god, divine soul. Oh my god, yes.
That's what it sounds like, Viserys.
Okay, that's actually...
Somehow, perhaps it was his interactions. Perhaps it was interactions with the group rescuing him. It's unclear, but it appears that somehow he's been blessed.
I mean,
Either that, or you found an actual turtle descended from God. Take your pick.
A turtle descended from
Mikara
God.
was wanting apprentices.
I wanted an apprentice. I wanted a sorcerer apprentice.
I mean, you already have one, but I guess
No,
not.
she's a wizard. She's a wizard.
I mean, then have a Lord Shell and move Lady Charlotte to.
I wanted to have a whole organization of apprentices as...
God, Charlotte's gonna be so pissed. She's being replaced by a turtle.
She's not
I
being
mean-
replaced, oh my
Sounds
god.
like a certain critic too.
I mean, the things you could take Lord Shell on as a retainer.
She is most certainly not being replaced.
But yeah, from what it sounds like, Lord Shell, in some way, has been blessed with a divine spark from somewhere. Be it Amanus rubbing off on the group as a whole. Or the providence of you guys rescuing him from death. Who knows?
These are shocking revelations.
Apparently. But apparently he knows how to cure wounds, for example.
My god. Okay, that's... In that case, Shell, you're going to be training. We are
Train.
sorely lacking in magic users, and especially ones that I do believe you have an arcane potential. We are sorely lacking in that.
Well, I can do one. I do have another spell I know.
And what's that?
He kind of looks over at a very ugly looking statue in the room. If I may.
Sure.
As Lord Shell seems to chant some words in a very bubbly kind of tone. As you suddenly see his mouth kind of inflate slightly as he suddenly spits out what looks like 3 magic missiles.
Oh. Who knows magic missile?
As it strikes the statue. Yeah, he currently knows cure wounds and magic missile.
That's crazy.
Have fun. There is a new sorcerer available in the town.
Yeah, so I think Ceres will be like, right,
They may be recruited as a retainer to the court.
lessons. Like you're starting them. Like this is non-negotiable.
You are forcing them to become the retainer of the court. Okay.
Press ganged.
Can I still party?
Yes. If you share the information of the lords to me.
Yeah, why would I keep it a secret? Well, they gossip. As congratulations, I'll add the new retainer to the list.
My God.
You did end up saying that you wanted a spellcaster apprentice. A spellcaster.
Seal say something to Lord Shell, after like Lady Ceres has left. Seal will note, if you're feeling lonely and depressed, there are no like auto awakened turtle. You can just follow the whimsical ways of Lady Ceres and awaken a turtle when you have the ability.
I don't know if they would
Oh no, it's a grey goose scenario. It's turtles
Yeah.
awakening everything in their path, but then
Yeah.
awaken more things.
No, because I think awakening is druidic. I don't think you can do it again.
I think someone.
Soon hunting will be
horrible.
horribly unethical because everyone can
I
flee
thought
for life.
Seal would be like, I'm also an outcast and a monster. You can come to me if you want companionship. But
There you
no,
go. If you look,
I mean,
she suggested something much more dangerous.
no, I'm following just what the Lady Ceres did.
if you look on the spreadsheet now in the retainer section, Lord Shell of Sorkai, awakened turtle, divine soul sorcerer,
My God.
spellcaster retainer.
Also, Seal doesn't see herself as a monster. She has a free spirit to do whatever they want.
Training Lord Shell up is going to cost a bit, but that's fine. That's covered by the standard like retainer cost figure calculations. That's no issue.
Okay.
But yeah, you now have Lord Shell on standby as a spellcaster who will be training under you.
Good God.
Also, how's that for proving divine rule? Even my turtle is divine.
We awakened a turtle, and now look at him.
Everything we touch becomes magic.
Everything we touch becomes divine. There we go. That's how we spin it. Quick, give it to Rodrigo.
Cannot deny me the throne. Look what I do.
Look what I have wrought.
Yep.
Acknowledge my rule, or I'll awaken your turtles.
Turtles
Oh, your
rise.
turtle shall rise.
Thankfully, the group does not have a druid on standby who can do that.
Awaken is also a bard spell, so maybe
Oh,
later.
good.
God. Yeah.
Ah, so the sage can do it.
Yes.
The sage begins.
Oh, what you need to do is awaken a hare, and then we can have some
my
games.
God.
Can have a race.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. Do not even.
Shall
Maybe
will
I
probably
could-
win because he'll like buy a scroll
Teleport.
of teleportation. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Dimension
heist or
door.
something.
Dimension door is way forward.
The question is, what class will the awakened rabbit become?
There's
Paladin.
a space rabbit or no? There's like a rabbit class, right?
Yeah,
probably.
there's Robert class. You say fading.
Beyond the awakening of Lord Shell, there is another event to cover.
Oh
Still.
my god.
But Lord Shell's one was one that I knew would be interesting.
Mm.
Yeah,
Your fault, Halldamir. You did this.
I did, and I regret nothing. This is.
I think Jonas is regretting things. But
Fine. I'm sure he will be a valuable member of the court.
you don't sound convinced.
He has a lot to prove.
The other thing that occurs is, well, there is a murder in Sorkai.
Oh my god. Who's murdering people now? Was it you, Amanas?
In that case, not murder, then it's execution.
Same
What?
thing,
What?
different wording.
It's not entirely clear what happened. The guards are still, Torin's guards are still investigating at the moment. But essentially, near the near the newly established dance club / brothel, one of the dancers was found horrifically dead and hung up from one of the laundry lines in a rather
Okay.
grisly display.
That is a grisly display.
It has got your people rather unsettled. Unfortunately, this random event has increased unrest by 1.
All right.
As your people are kind of scared of what happened. If you figure if the crime is solved, the unrest will go back down by 1.
How do we solve the crime?
Well, that becomes something for the group to consider.
All right.
But that's where I will finish for today.
Okay.
Next time, you will get to review the new candidates for the court, as well as potential actual missions for the group to do as a whole. Personally. And of course, we can petty. Otherwise, we're also just, if we don't do any missions, otherwise it will just be handling the second turn for the court.
Sure thing.
But I hope you enjoyed the session. It's definitely a change of pace as we kind of headed into running the kingdom now, finally. You can finally run a kingdom.
That's nice to get some of the stuff that's been on the docket for a long time. Get that up and going.
Atlas finally gets to be a ruler.
Yes. Yes. We shall see. Maybe I shall hear petitioners next time. That's always fun.
I mean, yeah, definitely hearing petitions. It's always a fun situation where Amnes gets random people in court and he gets to basically just like decide the outcome to things.
It's important. They should see their leader, and I should be part of their lives by judging them.
Yes, these two people are fighting over a girl's hand. Amnes gets to decide what to do.
Yes, we split the girl in 2.
Yeah, when you hold a court, you're just inviting the public to, hey, if you've got a grievance you need to settle or something new adjudicated, you can bring it to the court.
Yep. Better be sure though, because you can't really appeal it.
No, you kind of brought it to the highest place in the land here. So.
All right. Well, that seems great.
Thank you for the session, everyone.
Yes, thank you for the session. I'm gonna head off to bed because I need to work tomorrow.
Same.
Yeah, same.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for the
All
session.
right. Thank you for the session. Bye.
Bye now.
Good night.
Night.